Radio's official FA Cup live, covering every game, every goal. Live, SJ Radio.
Sorry, I completely forgot that was on again. Okay, Norwich City as they take on Chelsea now. It's 0-0. There's the live 12 commentary.
Semi-finalists of the FA Cup 3 times, most recently in 1992. They may have even got to a final were it not for the gentleman sitting alongside me.
I'll probably give some diff information. It was 1988-89 and managed to score the winning goal against them, to which Delia Smith has never forgiven me, so she told me.
Yes, 89, and then I think again in 1992 they got to the semis. But you don't want to get on the wrong side of Delia. That's the trouble. Let's be having you, Pat Neville.
She is lovely. She is unfailingly lovely.
So breaking news. Sorry, Pat, to interrupt. Just some breaking news on 5 Live. The BBC understands Liverpool have agreed a £142 million deal with Barcelona for the Brazilian playmaker Felipe Coutinho. Official confirmation of the transfer is expected soon. There's been rumours over the last hour or so on social media, but the BBC now understands that deal is done, and it will be the 3rd highest transfer in world football when it goes through. 142 million for Felipe Coutinho. They might be losing a very good player, Pat Neville. They're getting a lot of money.
They're getting a lot of money, and it'll be very interesting to see what level of business that Liverpool do now, with some of that money at least. We're burning a hole in Klopp's pocket. Now, he's not the first one to go out and spend a whole bunch of money all the time, but he's got a centre-back and he's got that area sorted out. He could probably do a little bit more up front to help with Coutinho was brilliant. Great amount of goals that he created for Liverpool as well. Let's be honest, nobody's particularly shocked that that move has actually happened, because the player wanted it, and we all know if the player generally wants it and there's a lot of money involved.
More of that story as it develops on 5 Live. We've got a mini 606 with Jason Mohammed during half-time in this game. So Liverpool fans might want to get involved on 5 Live with that news that Coutinho appears to be on his way. I'm sure Stoke fans will want a word as well. Stoke, who are out of the FA Cup, having lost to League 2 Coventry. 53 places between them, and they are out of the... no, it must be more than 53. I've got my numbers wrong there, but they are out of the FA Cup, and more pressure on Mark Hughes.
Do you know, I don't think it should be just Liverpool fans that will be disappointed that Coutinho's gone. Football fans should be, because he is a joy to watch. He was a brilliant player. He played the game a beautiful way, and he would score goals and create things that other players couldn't do. He was special.
Right, here come Norwich. Murphy, bit of pace down the left-hand side, creeps into the penalty area, swings it across, which Caballero actually fumbled for a moment, but it just popped in the air and popped back into his grasp again. It wasn't a great cross from Murphy. Caballero, if anything, was just caught a little bit unawares, but no real danger there for Chelsea.
Yeah, but I think it was clever in many ways. It goes to the near post there. If Caballero, it's one of those ones, had he taken a little step to his left towards the centre of the goal, which many keepers would do expecting the cross, it might have sneaked in there. And I think it's like you're right enough, it surprised Caballero, but he managed to smuggle it free.
Now Willian has been taken down by Tribal, the summer signing from Den Haag, and Chelsea have already taken the free kick. Gary Cahill wearing the yellow boots that sort of matches the opponent's gear tonight. Here is David Luiz inside the centre circle, pings one towards Willian, a lot of pace on it, difficult for Willian to control, never really gets it under his possession, but Zappacosta keeps the ball in play, and here is Rudiger on the halfway line. So Chelsea with Willian and Pedro in support of Batshuayi, the centre forward, who's not seen much of the ball so far, as we've played almost 18 minutes now. Norwich 0, Chelsea 0 in the FA Cup on 5
Well, he's not had to see much of the ball, Batshuayi, but when it has come to him, it's often bounced off. That occasion there, he didn't manage to get to one of his teammates either. And I think that's the thing, that one of the things that infuriates Antonio Conte about Batshuayi. He is a fabulous goal scorer. His numbers are generally brilliant when he gets opportunities. However, he needs to be a link man, and when you compare him to Morata, who is generally a very good link man, it kind of shows up in sharp relief the limitations that he's shown at this level. But you give him a chance, he'll probably score it.
Domestic cup competitions for Chelsea against non-Premier League opponents. Michy Batshuayi has had a hand in 9 goals in 4 matches. scored 7, 2 assists. So he pretty much averages a goal or assist every 40 minutes this season, and stretching back into last season when he's been up against non-Premier League opponents, and generally these are the sort of games he's been given a start in.
You know, his numbers actually were good, even with the Premier League ones were added in as well, because he had a few goals at the end of last season as well. So he is a big talking point here, because there were discussions that the possibility that he might leave Stamford Bridge in this transfer window. I think with the Coutinho move happening, the Verdink move happening, I think we're going to see a big transfer window this time.
0-0 at Carrow Road. Pinto rolls it along the halfway line to Alexander Tettey, and he tries to go around Bakayoko and then turns and rolls for Grant Hanley, and then helped on by Tom Tribal, and now to the near side and Tim Klose. Norwich just trying to develop their own tempo and rhythm, and they've had to be full of concentration and very alert when Chelsea are in possession, and now they're trying to apply that same sort of level of concentration to when they indeed have the ball. Norwich, who at the moment you can clearly see they are trying to adopt the Huddersfield model. They've brought in Daniel Farke, who had the same job that David Wagner had before he went to Huddersfield. They've signed plenty of German players. They've even, I think their new sporting director was recruited from Huddersfield. And you can see what they're trying to do, but David Wagner has made it look easy.
I would say one different thing about them, when Chelsea recently played against Huddersfield, it was as defensive as Everton against Liverpool recently. Not the cup game, but the league game. It was horrendously defensive, that game. Newcastle, when their releasing game against Manchester City, Huddersfield were very similar. That's not the Norwich way. They're much more positive. They're having a go. Now, it may well be said that it's a cup game, so you might as well have a dig and have a go at it. But they've really impressed me so far, and they're really nice on the ball. They've good confidence about them as well. And although there've not been any real chances in this game, the slightly more dangerous team has been Norwich so far.
20 minutes played. Free kick to Chelsea. David Luiz on his first appearance since November, standing over it. Of course, he'll want to be back in regular action, and this being a World Cup season, he'll want to be there with Brazil. Here is Rudiger with the short sleeves and the gloves, and he rolls it towards Batshuayi, who was marshalled well on the edge of the penalty area and never got near controlling that, and the loose ball rolls through to Angus Gunn.
It's one of those ones when the ball goes into Batshuayi and it doesn't stick, my eyes don't follow the ball, my eyes go straight down to Antonio Conte to see what the reaction is. It's very telling sometimes.
Antonio Conte, who I'm sure will be badgered in the press conference later on and in the various media interviews he's got to do. The spat with Jose Mourinho continuing. I was at Old Trafford last night. I interviewed Jose Mourinho in the tunnel after the game, but it was in the press conference that he made his comments about Antonio Conte and the fact he was embroiled in the match fixing scandal in his Juventus days, and I think we haven't heard the end of that. I presume Conte's going to bat it away for now, and he's not going to throw further fuel on the fire, but you never quite know. There could be a little dig in there.
Well, there could be, and it's mildly entertaining as well, it has to be said. But last season Conte never reacted once. He just smiled, almost looking in the wing mirror how far Jose Mourinho was behind Chelsea at that point.
It's a bit easier when you're top of the table, isn't it, to take things in your stride. Good work in defence by Jamal Lewis, this 19-year-old. He turns 20 later in January. Only his fourth appearance. He made his debut just before Christmas against Brentford. He played again on Boxing Day at Birmingham. Then he played against Millwall on Monday, and here he is a fortnight after his debut, and he's playing against Chelsea in the FA Cup. Number 26, Jamal Lewis.
And I'll tell you what, he does not look out of place in this company he's keeping just now. And considering he's sometimes having to pick up Willian, he's sometimes having to pick up Zappacosta, and also the complication that changes all the time, so he has to be aware.
Just in the penalty area, David Luiz stretching for the ball. Alex Pritchard ran in. They were in a bit of a tangle, but as it is, it just went out for a goal kick anyway.
Yeah, but I think that's what we're talking about right from the start. The fact that Norwich are going to try and push up really high as often as they possibly could. The first touch from David Luiz was, I talked about his relaxed attitude early on there, didn't I? A little bit too relaxed there. And I say almost caught in the ball. He was caught in the ball.
Yeah, just to paint the picture for the listeners at home. So the goalkeeper, Caballero, to be honest, David Luiz probably didn't want it there. He rolled it to him inside the penalty area, really short pass. And David Luiz just sort of took a lazy little touch to the side. He didn't know Pritchard was anywhere near him. Pritchard closing in, very nearly managed to deflect it goal bound as it was. It went out for the goal kick. But that's the first sort of question mark beside David Luiz, who at the moment has just raised a thumbs up to Caballero in a sort of okay, we got that one wrong, but at least we got away with it sort of gesture.
It's one of those ones where his back was to the play. Now, in actual fact, if you take a chance and you play it to any defender when it's back to the play, but he should have been on the half turn anyway to be able to see what was behind him.
By the way, the BBC Sport website, the app, the red button, they've got all the goals you can watch from the third round. They're available now. If you go on there, you can pick out the best of the action from today in the FA Cup. There is also match of the day tonight on BBC One. Here comes Pritchard for Norwich. David Luiz backtracking away from him. Murphy made a good run. Pritchard wants to take it on himself. Stumbled just before he shot, and he was off balance, and there's no pace on it. And Caballero makes the save. But that was the most threatening looking attack of the game so far, and it may open up some room for Chelsea now as Willian feeds Pedro. He's bearing down on the penalty area. Excellent tackle from Christoph Zimmermann, and Norwich regained possession, and it feels like a proper cup tie now as the game begins to stretch.
You took the words out of my mouth. It does feel like a cup tie win. And again, just as you were looking at notes there, that Norwich attack came from David Luiz losing the ball again. Now he really has to get himself up to the speed of this game. He's been out for a long time. It's quite normal for a player to come back and look a bit rusty. But I'll tell you what, Norwich are going to try and make real capital out of that just now. Every time he gets the ball, he's been closed down.
Norwich City 0, Chelsea 0. This is the FA Cup on 5 Live for the BBC. Just to recap the news from Anfield, Felipe Coutinho, Barcelona, £142 million. The BBC understands that deal is now done. The third highest transfer fee in football history, as the ball is cleared away by Willy Caballero, headed down by Batshuayi, but he looked isolated there and he sort of swooshed his head at it. Very unclean header, and he almost gave away possession. In
the end, he should have chested the ball down, held it up and passed it to one of his teammates. It's pretty basic stuff, and it's again looking straight away to Antonio Conte, and he's trying not to turn away each time Batshuayi loses the ball. Having said that, you give him a chance in front of the goal, suddenly his touch will be brilliant again. Norwich
had a poor run through November, early parts of December, but they have taken 7 points from 9 over the festive period. And just again to reiterate, half-time in this game, we'll have a mini 606 with Jason Mohammed and Robbie Savage. Much to talk about. Then they'll be live again from 7:30 once this game is over. Here comes Murphy for Norwich. Nice little, lovely play to get around Rudiger into the penalty area, tried to lay it off for Pritchard. He did everything right in the build up there, but the final pass was lacking. Willian has given away possession. Norwich come again. Norwich are doing well here against Chelsea in the FA Cup. This is James Maddison taken down maybe on the edge of the penalty area. Referee says no, play on. Chelsea will come out of possession from defence, and they've got a lot of space now on the left hand side. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, I would agree with you that putting a lot of pressure on Chelsea, and that was not a penalty kick. There was a good tackle there, got the ball clean as a whistle. Once again, Chelsea on the break looked dangerous, but most of the play going forward has been Norwich.
Batshuayi tried to flick it through to Kennedy, who was the furthest forward player for just a moment there for Chelsea. As it is, the visitors hold on to possession, but they're back now on the halfway line in the centre circle with David Luiz. Chelsea in the charcoal grey strip with the sky blue trim, and that's a poor ball from Bakayoko in the general direction of Willian, but not really towards him, and that goes out for a goal kick for young Angus Gunn and for Norwich City away to our right hand side. So 0-0 here. But Josh Murphy has looked bright, the twin brother of Newcastle's Jacob Murphy, and he's the one who you think might prise open the doors so far in the game, as just getting back to his feet. Tom Trybull there, who felt the sting but doesn't need any treatment, and play can get back underway with the Norwich City goal kick. Yeah, don't you just like it, when you see young players having a go at top internationals? And there doesn't seem to be any fear whatsoever than Murphy. He just wants to get on the ball and he wants to run at Rudiger. Rudiger's a very, very good defender and very, very quick. But he left him for dead in that occasion there within the box. And this is Jamal Lewis, the teenager, under pressure from Rudiger, and managing to smuggle the ball away to safety and Trybull. And now a chance of a counter-attack here for Norwich. Murphy, good penetrative thrust to the edge of the penalty area, has a snap, but it was always rising, and it does career over the crossbar, but it was definitely worth the go there, and he looks full of confidence, Norwich City's top scorer.
Yeah, and also just the system that is working really well for Norwich just now. Maddison's finding himself in nice little pockets where both Bakayoko and to some degree Drinkwater are leaving him alone in there, and you shouldn't do that with Morrison. He's a very, very good player, and he's passing not brilliantly threaded balls into dangerous areas, but clever balls into the likes of Pritchard and Murphy. You know, the whole thing is going very well for Norwich at the moment, not creating quite as many chances as they'd like to, but they've had a very positive start.
Just want to share with the listeners, our seating situation here at Norwich is very cramped to the press box, which is fine. But myself and Pat Nevin are both on this sort of seat, which I can only describe it. It's like sort of if you're at a ride in the fun fair and you're getting in, you have to be strapped in, and you have to kind of slide it out to get into it, and you slide it back in again. But the trouble is that it feels like we're rocking on a boat. So if Pat moves, I move, and if I move, Pat moves, and we're sort of floating around here as we watch the game.
I'm feeling seasick as it is.
Exactly. 0-0 at Carrow Road. I nearly called you Pat Murphy there as well. I don't know where that came from. Here is Rudiger rolling the ball into the penalty area and all the way back to Caballero. Sprinting in on him was Murphy, and Caballero, nonchalant as you like, just rolls it to Zappacosta, and Chelsea look to play their way out of trouble. 0-0 on 5 Live in the FA Cup. Now Bakayoko's got a lot of space here on the left hand side of midfield. Rolls it forward to Pedro, 10 yards inside the Norwich City half. He's got Kennedy outside him on the left. Bakayoko is coming to get involved once again. Back to Pedro. Chelsea fans cheering every pass of the moment. A big contingent of Chelsea fans who've pretty much got half of the big stand on the far side of the field from us. It is one of the really noteworthy things of FA Cup third round, that the bigger allocation for visiting supporters at all the games. Murphy here tries to drill it forward, but he's given it straight to Gary Cahill, and Chelsea have got numbers forward here. Kennedy out to Pedro, up against the touchline on the left hand side. Pinto's retreating away from him. Pedro with the chance to look up. Here comes the delivery. Poor ball considering the time he had. Floats over Batshuayi, over Willian, and straight through to Angus Gunn. Good distribution from the goalkeeper on loan from Manchester City. It actually hits his teammate Murphy on the back of his neck, and that allows Rudiger nip in, and Chelsea regain possession.
Well, that was a fantastic pass by Gunn. That was one of the best passes that the game got so far, and it's from the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper's getting a wee bit too good at that for my liking. No, about a 60-70 yard ball there all the way to Murphy on the left hand side, but he couldn't cause any damage with it when he got the ball.
It's a huge part of the skill set, isn't it, for the younger generation of goalkeepers, and it's all been drilled into them coming up as kids. And of course he's only 21, Angus Gunn. He's not been tested in the game so far, with half an hour played, and that'll very much please Daniel Farke, the German Norwich City coach. As here comes Kennedy in off the left wing. Willian is with him, the two Brazilians combining. Now Pedro, the former Barcelona man, back to Willian again. Left hand edge of the penalty area. Dummies a shot, which 2 or 3 of his opponents buy the dummy. Then he tees it back for Kennedy. Turns, shoots, deflects, and could have got anywhere. As it is, it deflected wide and goes out for a Chelsea corner on the right hand side. 0-0.
Well, the 2 shots that Chelsea have had so far have both been from that man Kennedy. The first one wasn't on target right at the start, maybe went about 7 or 8 yards wide, but he's desperate to get involved. By the way, that ball did strike a Norwich hand on the way through, but not in a month of Sundays as that penalty kick. He knew nothing about it, and his hands were down by his sides. But that's the first little, hopeful sign from the Chelsea attack. And from Kennedy, he's really only had 2 little pieces of the game so far he's taken part in. Both of them have been shots, and he finally gets a corner at this one, which I think he's going to take.
Kennedy to take the corner. Right hand side as Chelsea come forward. He's put way too much on that, and it flies over everyone and completely harmlessly goes out for a goal kick to Norwich. So 32 minutes played, and Antonio Conte has yet to see his team fashion a shot on target.
Absolutely not. And a couple of things wrong with Chelsea. If you play 3 at the back, and the team we're playing against are almost playing with no centre forward, because both of the strikers, Murphy will pull out wide as often as he could. Pritchard is playing as a false 9. You've got 3 guys back there that are actually marking no one, which gives Norwich this big advantage in midfield. In the flood of the midfield, they're getting the ball down, and that's why they're getting more possession than Chelsea.
Zappacosta flicks it infield towards Bakayoko. Bakayoko beaten to the ball by Alex Pritchard, who's working hard down there. And then Tim Klose, the Swiss international, turns and rolls it back to the goalkeeper, Angus Gunn. Pat, what have you made of Bakayoko in a Chelsea shirt? I mean, last season he was one of the most exciting players in the Champions League with Monaco, and he's not reached anything like that level with Chelsea so
What's
far.
Intriguing about him, as an athlete, he's absolutely incredible. Physical strength is unbelievable, and he's breaking from box to box is of the top level, but his footballing play apart from that has not been of that standard. And you know, it may well it does take a while for some players to get into the standard of the Premier League. You'd have expected it to be real on a plate for him, but the amount of times that he's given the ball away in a Chelsea shirt has been far too much for Antonio Conte's liking, and for many of the Chelsea fans too.
Here is Batshuayi, very deep at the moment, 4 or 5 of his teammates further up the field than the Belgian striker. He whips it out to Kennedy on the left hand side. Kennedy's going to give it away here, but Bakayoko, to his credit, crunches in and wins back possession for his team. So Pedro has it for Chelsea on the left hand side. No goals here on 5 Live at Carrow Road. That's not a bad cross. Klose tries to clear it away, hit the back of Jamal Lewis, and in the end Norwich are happy just to get it out of the penalty area at the expense of a corner. That was one of those little crossed wires between Klose and Jamal Lewis that they could have been punished. I think they're quite relieved to have got it away. Sometimes
happens when you're a team playing with 3 centre backs when they're used to playing with 2. Little mix ups, not exactly sure who should be going with the ball, and that was very much in evidence there.
So Willian prepares to take the corner, short run up, right footed delivery, not bad at all, but headed away from a congested penalty area for Norwich. And then Kennedy here on the edge is snapped into by Pritchard. Been really impressed with how Pritchard is getting stuck into the opponents tonight, but then as he tries to release Pinto, who made a charging run on the right hand side, there's too much on the pass, and that goes out for a throw into Chelsea, who regain possession.
And there was a bit of space to break into there. Chelsea had put all the centre backs up. They were trying to attack that corner kick there, and when the ball breaks away from Kennedy there, he was in big trouble. But it's just a shame for Norwich that the pass wasn't played to a yellow shirt on that occasion. And once again, Batshuayi gives the ball away, and it's just becoming too common here.
Lovely ball, Maddison over the top, Murphy's onto it ahead of Rudiger. Rudiger's trying to get back, Murphy across the face of goal, and I think he was in two minds there. He knew Pritchard was with him, he might have thought about a cross, the power suggested he was going for goal, but nowhere near the accuracy, so much so it goes across goal. It doesn't go for a goal kick, it goes out for a throw.
I've watched most of Chelsea's games this season. I don't think any player has given Rudiger a harder time than Murphy has given him in this first half. Constantly running at him, asking him questions all the time. Good skills with his feet as well. And just watching Rudiger there, he actually looks a bit tired, as if he's been outrun. As we're speaking, he's leaning over. Murphy will be very confident just now, and there's cameras in front of us and they're doing close-ups of Murphy constantly. They realise he's on a good game just now. He's playing well, and as you say, he's scoring a lot of goals at the moment, playing with massive confidence.
What I like about Josh Murphy, every time he's got the ball, he never cuts back, he never puts his studs on it and kind of looks up. He just head down, boom, go towards the penalty area. Positive thrust all the time.
Absolutely, and he has got good feet as well. He's not one of these players who is just a head down and run with pure pace. He's got that pace, but he's also got a little bit of a footballing brain as well, and I think he's a wee bit unlucky with that, as you correctly say, half shot, half cross there.
9 minutes of normal time until the break. Just a reminder, the Coutinho deal, Liverpool to Barcelona, the BBC understands that deal is done. 142 million, not a bad return on a player who they signed from Inter for £8 million. Not bad to buy for 8, sell for 142. Just a reminder that 606, full 606 programme once the live football is over here at Carrow Road. But at half time, Jason Mohammed and Robbie Savage are going to have a mini 606. Liverpool fans, get involved. Let us know what you think about that Coutinho deal, now looking done and dusted, as the ball is cleared away at the back by Christoph Zimmermann for Norwich. Pritchard's going to stretch in the centre circle, but Cahill gets there first, clears it high towards the edge of the Norwich City penalty area. Klose nods it down. Jamal Lewis clears it away with his left boot, and then that's a foul by Cahill on Pritchard, and a free kick to Norwich on the halfway line.
And Cahill knew exactly what he was doing there. There was no way he was going to get that ball without going through Pritchard there. There was no real pressure on it there. I mean, Chelsea weren't under any pressure there, and I think he just wanted to make his presence felt at that point in time. But very noticeable from the Chelsea point of view. They're not controlling that midfield area, and of course, if you've not got a Fabregas or a Kanté in there, they're two quite good players not to have in there, but they're the most capable of controlling midfield areas that Chelsea have got. A lot of that's been left to Drinkwater at the moment. He's not been bad in it, but he's been outnumbered.
Last year's runners-up Chelsea here in the third round, away from home at Carrow Road, having to absorb quite a lot of pressure. They have had a decent amount of possession, Antonio Conte's team, but they've not been able to turn that into opportunities at goal. And Norwich's young goalkeeper Angus Gunn has not been tested at all in the game as Teti plays it forward, chested down confidently by David Luiz, who then just barrels his way out of defence, lays it off to Danny Drinkwater, and then a pass that was intended for Batshuayi is cut out by Tribal, and a chance now for Norwich City to come on the attack. Pritchard looks up, lovely ball to Madison, just on the edge of the penalty area. Excellent tackle comes in from Bakayoko. He just bossed that space in front of the D, and now he releases Willian, who comes charging down the right hand side, sends in an early cross, easily dealt with by Grant Hanley, and Norwich City will play their way out of defence.
What's really noticeable, Chelsea break there and 3 players break into the box. Problem for them is there was 7 canary shirts in there, canary yellow shirts in there. The willingness to get back by the Norwich team is certainly outmatching the willingness to get forward from the Chelsea midfielders at this point in time.
Norwich are up for this. They're working hard. Antonio Conte, who's wearing the tracksuit this evening, the padded coat as well, the blue trainers, and he's watching as his team are in defensive mode with Josh Murphy on the ball for Norwich up against the touchline on the left hand side. Pritchard is a busy player floating all over the place, comes in close, gets possession off him. Tribal rolls it back to the halfway line and to Grant Hanley, who had his brief spell at Newcastle and didn't get much game time under Rafa Benitez, former Blackburn player, of course, the Scotland international. Here he is on the ball again, receiving it from Christoph Zimmermann. Pedro tries to get in close, Hanley clears it down the field, where Pinto tried to flick it on but unable to do. Good work by Kennedy to get it down on the deck. Pedro back to Danny Drinkwater, halfway line now for Chelsea, left hand side of the field as they come forward in their charcoal grey strip. Here is Rudiger, halfway line still, forward now to Willian. That's not a bad ball. Willian gets it again from Bakayoko, back to Bakayoko, back to Willian, just over 5 yards outside the penalty area, scoops it forward for Batshuayi. I mean, obviously he's not gone on to much tonight, but the service hasn't been great to him, Batshuayi, and once again Norwich regain possession and clear away.
Well, I'll grant you that's poor service into him there, but you know, you're used to watching that Chelsea playing those lovely little 1-2s that usually involve Hazard sometimes with Pedro or Willian, but they're all breaking down at the moment. None of them are getting through that Norwich back line. You've got to say it's really well marshalled. The 3 centre defenders, they haven't budged from the positions, and they're getting really good help from the wing backs as well. So it's been a very, very impressive display so far from Norwich. They would just love to get that goal though, wouldn't they?
The Norwich City goal will make things very interesting here on a day where we've already had a few shocks in the Cup. Coventry of League 2 beating Stoke, Fleetwood drew at Leicester, Bournemouth will get a replay against League 1 Wigan. Challenge by David Luiz on the halfway line, and the referee is reaching for his notebook. David Luiz is going to be booked here.
Yeah, he's tried to do that, you know, nipping in front of the player. And did he get in, or did he take a bit of the ball? I don't think he got any of the ball at all. I certainly got the player there. And it's one of those ones, if you take that sort of chance and don't win that ball clean, you either get turned and lose possession, or else you give away a free kick. And certainly we're good to our monitors here are showing us a little bit more. And you know, he's stepping down. He's not caught him a great deal, but because there's a kind of stepping down action, I think the referee's well within his rights to give a yellow card.
Yeah, it's not the most X-rated tackle you've ever seen, but it's not a clean tackle either.
But it's also an unnecessary one. That's the other thing about it.
He knew what he was doing there, David Luiz. Norwich 0, Chelsea 0. 5 live from the BBC. Chelsea beat Norwich 2-1 the last time these sides met. That was here at Carrow Road in the Premier League 2 seasons ago. Kennedy, who's playing for Chelsea tonight, scored a goal in that game as Tim Klose wallops it over to the far side to Pinto. You know, given the fact that it is a 3-man central defence, Pinto's not come forward all that much really on the right hand side, but here he is up against Danny Drinkwater. Between them, Drinkwater and Pedro double up though and regain possession, and Pedro, who's so neat and tidy, even though he's in a congested little cul-de-sac there, he managed to wriggle his way. Kennedy not so neat. Chelsea lose possession. Pinto has it for Norwich, crossing position on the right hand side. Back to Teti, lovely little injection of pace from Pritchard, delivers the cross into the box. Zappacosta was all over the place and he puts it out for a corner. Murphy hounding him behind, and Chelsea looked uncertain. Corner to Norwich.
Great turn by Pritchard, just at the edge of the box there, flicks it back through his own legs there and doesn't wait for it, just whips it into that dangerous area there. Now Zappacosta was quick into the position to make sure he could clear it, but it wasn't an impressive clearance at all.
0-0, decent cup tie this. Corner to Norwich, which James Maddison takes on the right hand side. Poor delivery. Batshuayi, who's the first defender, is able to clear it away. He's got it on the left hand side, the Belgian, and he angles it up the field towards Pedro. Clumsy challenge on him by Grant Hanley, and then the referee I think he's saying a handball.
Oddly enough, he pointed the other.
Yeah, he got it wrong there, the
towards,
referee, didn't he? Yeah.
Unless he's decided to give the free kick to Norwich for the handball that came after what looked to be a shove. There's certainly a shove involved there.
I think you're right, Pat. I think he has given the free kick to Norwich. However, I think there's handball by both. I think Grant Hanley handles it first, and then Pedro handles it.
I think Chelsea will be furious about that. Certainly, if Norwich gets something out of this situation, a very, very bizarre one. But to be fair, it kind of underlines the problem that Chelsea have had all the way through it. Whoever it's played up to at the front there, be it Batshuayi, be it Pedro, and to some degree Willian, they haven't been able to hold it up, play it, and pull their defence up so that they can get more players forward quickly enough.
Well, if Norwich were to get a goal here in the 90 seconds of normal time remaining until half-time, I think Antonio Conte will be furious with that handball decision. I was at the Hawthorns a few days ago, that Arsenal game, and the Callum Chambers handball, which was a huge contentious issue, and Arsene Wenger got in huge trouble for it. He's going to have a 3-match touchline ban now. But whereas this was on the halfway line and therefore not as big a deal, if you like, it was still a very strange one when both players appeared to handle it, and it was Hanley who handled it first, surely. But anyway, free kick was given the other way. Here is David Luiz inside the centre circle. Chelsea playing from left to right as we look down. It's not a great ball from David Luiz. His intended target was Kennedy, who'd ran on the left wing, but it was too straight down the middle, not towards the wing, and straight through to Angus Gunn.
Very intriguing here to see what Antonio Conte will do at half-time, but there's no reason why Norwich should change anything, because Norwich are playing well. They're playing at the top of their capabilities. They've got a good striker and Oliveira on the bench if they need to change it, but they're doing perfectly well just now, whereas Chelsea, it isn't really working for them at all. He's got Morata on the bench, and the tactics could change. Chelsea could go back to the 3-5-2, which they like to play, and that would give them a chance to get Morata and Batshuayi on. Tempted to do that.
Pinto coming forward on the right hand side. Kennedy stretches out a boot, puts it out of play. Throw into Norwich, level with the corner angle of the penalty area that they're attacking. Down that right hand side, right in front of the Chelsea supporters. 2 minutes being added on for stoppages here at the end of the first half. Norwich will be pleased. They've had the better opportunities. Here's a cross from Pinto. Pritchard stretching for it. This is Maddison just outside the D. Goes around. Drinkwater shoots. It was too high, but a good effort again. Good movement to create space where so little existed. And again, it's Norwich who are creating. Even if they are only half chances, they're creating them. Chelsea not doing the same at the other end.
Yeah, not mentioned Maddison as much, but he's done a power of work in there, and that's not what he's absolutely noted for. But given many chances around about the day, he is fabulous, and not just from open play. He's very good from free kicks in that position as well. So that's another thing that Chelsea have to be concerned about just now. But Maddison, I think he's played well. Pritchard's played well, but Murphy has been the star of the show in this first half.
Yeah, interesting story with James Maddison. He came through the ranks of Coventry. Norwich signed him, and then they sent him on loan, and he sort of says, if I was at a bigger club, I would just have been lingering in the academy, lingering in the reserves. He's played almost 100 senior games already, and I think he credits that action, regardless of what level it's been at. That's what's turned him into the player he is. The fact he's played in the first team, be it in Scotland, be it in
it's absolute imperative for young players. I mean, the big clubs have got so many scouts out there getting the best players and hoovering so many of them up. I mean, the perfect example, if you look at the other team, how many Chelsea players are out on loan, but as long as they go out on loan and get first team experience, if they sit in the reserve, the youth or the 21s, 23s, you name it, and don't get first team experience and end up at 21, 22 without enough first team experience, it's too late then.
Right, we've virtually played the 2 minutes of stoppage time. Norwich City 0, Chelsea 0. Norwich causing problems for the Premier League champions, for the FA Cup finalists from last season. But here is Willian and so many talented Chelsea players on the pitch. You know that just one moment might be all it takes for them to grab the lead here. Bakayoko plays it out to Kennedy, crossing position on the left hand side, but before the cross can reach the penalty area, the half-time whistle is blown. Quick comment from Pat Nevin.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. Slightly better team Norwich, a little more comfortable in ball, oddly enough. Tactically, they've got it absolutely spot on, and I think they'll make few changes unless they have to at half-time. Whereas Chelsea, if they don't want to have a replay, I think they'll want to try and make some changes either at half-time or very early in the second half, and that might mean Morata.
Right, Chelsea have not really been firing in all cylinders here. We've got time to squeeze in a quick mini 6:06 during the break. So 0-0 here And we join Jason Mohammed.
We have indeed. Connor, thank you very much indeed. Back to Connor and Pat very shortly, but if you'd like to get your calls in now, number to call is 08085 909 693. As Connor says, we'll take as many of your calls during half-time as we can, and there we're back in full with 606 after live commentary from Carrow Road. Good evening, Robbie Savage. Evening,
Hi, Jay.
Rob.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, very well.
Good.
Thank you very much indeed. So what have you made of the coverage today and the scores today?
Well, obviously, Coventry fans will be falling up. I'm sure we'll Stoke fans. I watched Wolves against Swansea. A couple of red cards in that game. But any shocks, Jay, for you of Coventry against Stoke? But what's the result of the day for you?
Well, I suppose that's where everybody is going to be talking about. We can also talk about League One Peterborough coming from behind to win 3-1 at Villa as well. And also Bournemouth making 8 changes. Robbie, I remember this time last year, we took a lot of calls, didn't we, from Bournemouth fans saying, what are we doing? Why can't we have a cup run? Now, they salvaged the draw against Wigan today. But what do you think, Rob? These Premier League managers making that many changes?
I understand, Jay, if you're fighting for Premier League survival, which Bournemouth are. I think when you're mid-table and you can't get relegated or you're not going to qualify for Europe, why not play your strongest side? I look at Leicester City today. Again, they played a weakened team in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup, and they haven't played their strongest side today. I don't think they have. People might argue it is, but no Vardy. I think he was injured. But why not? You're not going to go down. Well,
very true.
I know they've drawn 0-0 and they probably beat Fleetwood in the replay, and fair play to Fleetwood, but if you're mid-table, why not play your strongest side?
And fans love an FA Cup run as well. And let's not take anything away from Coventry City, of Wigan Athletic, and also Peterborough United. Yeah, go on.
Last night, Lallana, was that a penalty?
No, it wasn't a penalty.
I didn't think it was either.
No, not a penalty at all. We can talk about that. We can also talk about Mason Holgate and Roberto Firmino. Whatever you want to talk
Coutinho.
about. We can also talk about Felipe Coutinho.
Yes.
In fact, Tom is on the line. We'll talk to Tom in just a moment. But here's a full run-through of today's results in the third round of the Emirates FA Cup. The big shock came at the Ricoh Arena, where Coventry City of League One beat Stoke City 2-1. We'll hear from Mark Hughes shortly. Bournemouth defender Steve Cook equalising in the last minute to salvage that 2-2 draw against Wigan Athletic of League One. The visitors led 2-0 at half-time. In League One, Peterborough United came from behind to win 3-1 at Villa. Elsewhere, in the first commentary game on 5 Live this lunchtime, it finished, as Robbie says, Fleetwood Town 0, Leicester City 0. Middlesbrough beating Sunderland by 2-0. Birmingham City on a good run, beating Burton Albion by 1-0. Hull City beating Blackburn Rovers at Ewood Park by 1-0. Bolton Wanderers 1, Huddersfield Town 2, Brentford 0, Notts County 2. Fantastic win for Kevin Nolan's side. Cardiff City 0, Mansfield Town 0, Carlisle United 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Doncaster Rovers 0, Rochdale 1, Exeter City 0, West Bromwich Albion 2. At last, Alan Pardew wins a game. Fulham 0, Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 0, Sheffield United 1, Manchester City 1-0 down at half-time against Burnley at the Etihad, but swept them aside the second half to win 4-1. Cracking game at the Den, Millwall beating Barnsley by 4-1. Newcastle United beating Luton Town by 3-1. Queen's Park Rangers 0, MK Dons 1, Stevenage 0, Reading 0, Watford 3, Bristol City 0 at Vicarage Road, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Swansea City 0 at Molineux, Wycombe Wanderers 1, Preston North End 5, Alex Neil's side through to the fourth round, and Yeovil Town 2, Bradford City 0. You are fully up to date with the FA Cup. So we'll go to Tom, a Liverpool fan who wants to talk about Coutinho, and Ray, a Coventry City fan, after the latest BBC News with Nick Hatfield.
More live Premier League football than anyone else. This is BBC 5 Live.
Donald Trump has again attacked the author Michael Wolff, who's written a controversial new book about the president and his administration. Speaking to journalists after a meeting of senior Republicans, he called Mr. Wolff a fraud who wrote works of fiction. The GMB union says the government needs to wake up to what it calls the crisis in the NHS. It comes after an 81-year-old woman died in Essex while waiting almost 4 hours for an ambulance to arrive earlier this week. Police in Bournemouth say they're increasingly concerned about a woman who's disappeared with her young son. Shirley White was last seen with the 3-year-old on Wednesday evening. A Sinn Féin MP has apologised after posting footage of himself with a loaf of Kingsmill bread on his head on the anniversary of the Kingsmill massacre in 1976. Barry McElduff has now deleted the tweet. And Ladbrokes, EasyJet and Virgin Money have defended their salary policies after they were among the major companies to reveal gender gaps of more than 15% for mean hourly pay. They all say men and women get the same amount when in the same role.
Five Live Breakfast.
Apple have admitted that all their devices are affected by a couple of major flaws.
Meltdown and Spectre, two big issues that have gone on in the world of processor chips. Intel, one of the companies that makes these chips, they could be hacked if people knew how to get into them. Well,
so it's not just an Apple problem?
No, it's not at all just an Apple problem. More than 80% of the world's PCs are reliant on these chips, and pretty much all of our smartphones will have some form of these chips in them.
You get an email from someone you know and it says, you really need to look at this. Open it up. Have you ever had one of those?
Yeah, but I usually ignore them.
I didn't ignore it once.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Schoolboy error.
Five Live Breakfast. Back Monday morning from 6. This is the UK's biggest football debate. This is 606 with Robbie Savage and Jason Mohammed on BBC 5 Live.
Yeah, so we'll go back to Carrow Road very shortly, but in the meantime, we'll take your calls 08085 909 693 if you want to call us. And we're expecting a lot of Liverpool fans on 606 this evening because Liverpool knocked Everton out of the FA Cup last night at Anfield. This evening, they've agreed a fee with Barcelona for the sale of Felipe Coutinho. BBC Sports chief football writer Phil McNulty has joined us. Hello, Phil. A very good evening to you.
Hi, Jason.
So we saw that picture, didn't we, that was revealed on social media a few weeks ago, and now we look as if we're about to lose Felipe Coutinho from the Premier League. What is the very latest, Phil?
Well, yes, it looks like a story that stretches back to last summer when Barcelona had 3 offers rejected, including one of £118 million, which had some very far-fetched add-ons in it. And we also had a transfer request from Coutinho himself. Will be concluded in the next 24 hours with Liverpool receiving £142 million from Barcelona. Coutinho, who's been nursing what was described as a minor thigh injury, didn't travel with the Liverpool squad as they flew off to enjoy a mid-season break in Dubai. The negotiations have been going on behind the scenes, and now it looks like only the formalities of the move remain to be concluded. Liverpool were reluctant sellers, particularly in January, and with so much to play for in the league, the Champions League and the FA Cup. But Barcelona's desire to sign Coutinho and the players' wish to move seem to have made the deal inevitable. Ironically, of course, Coutinho can't play in the Champions League for Barcelona because he's already helped Liverpool reach the last 16 where they'll play Porto, but certainly it now looks like an inevitability and confirmation is expected not too long away.
Phil, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. That's BBC Sports chief football writer Phil McNulty. Obviously, we'll keep you right up to date with that story here on 5 Live. Right, let's go to Tom, who's on the line. He wants to talk about Felipe Coutinho. Hello, Tom. Good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to 5 Live. What do you think?
Well, I think as all Liverpool fans, we've seen this coming. But ever since Barcelona came back last summer, you know, when Barca go after someone, they will get them. And as Liverpool fans, we've all known that he's going to go. And it's only been a matter of time. And lo and behold, today it's happened. I have mixed feelings. I'm grateful to him for all the amazing performances he's given us, especially over the last few weeks, that he's put in some great performances. And in the Brighton game especially, he was involved in all 5 goals there. He was involved. He was spectacular. And it'll be a great shame to see him go. But it's his dream and a player, and at his wish is to go on to Barcelona and to go on to other things and take up a different challenge. But I think that the way in which he's done it, you know, leaving right now, slap in the middle of the season when we're in a big contention for top 4 this season, we're in a big Champions League battle as well. You know, I would rather have seen him go at the end in the summer. But, you know, it is what it is, and that's how it is.
That's what I was about to ask you, Tom, whether you've been taken aback, stroke surprised by the timing of this announcement.
Well, I haven't. I mean, I've seen it coming, you know, since Christmas. I've known that he's going to leave, probably. And the last few days, it's just been mad with speculation and stories and reports from all different news sources. And, you know, I would rather have seen him go in the summer, but he's gone now, so there's nothing we can do about it.
Robbie, what do you think?
I want to ask Tom, you know, so you've spent 75 million on Van Dijk. If you get 142 for Coutinho, you know, I don't know how much will be up front, but I'm sure there's a huge amount of that up front. What would you like the manager to do? In January is going to be difficult. I don't think you can replace Coutinho. What he's offered for you has been absolutely magnificent. For me, do you know what I'd do? And this is just my opinion. I'd go and try and get a goalkeeper. Just put a stupid offer in for something like Jack Butland, whatever, 30, 40 million quid. And, you know, looking at who could replace Coutinho, I'm not sure there's that many people that could do it. The one player, I think, possibly in Mahrez. Listen, Coutinho's a better player, let me just say that. But Mahrez, you know, 2 years ago, the PFA Player of the Year, maybe do a little cheeky offer for him just, you know, in January. Because what would you do, Tom?
Exactly, that's my thoughts. I want Mahrez, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard today we've had reports of us approaching Leicester or something over the possible signing of Mahrez, and from what I heard, they possibly were willing to do business. So, if we get Mahrez, and whether before the end of January transfer window or not, I don't know, but he's certainly someone who's got that creative spark in him that sort of just has that sort of reminiscence that Coutinho did as well. That'd be great. Also, on the keeper issue, I can't pronounce his name probably, but Donnarumma, is it, or something, the AC Milan keeper? I believe he's out of contract at the end of this season, and he's a fantastic young lad. I think he's only 18 or 19, and he's a fantastic keeper, and I'd love to see him come to Anfield if possible. But no, definitely we need a replacement for Coutinho ASAP, and absolutely fundamentally a new goalkeeper.
Good to talk to you, Tom. Thank you very much indeed. So Liverpool fans, get on the phones now. 08085 909 693. Your reaction to the news that Liverpool have agreed a fee with Barcelona for the sale of Felipe Coutinho. Back to the FA Cup, the story of the day at the Rico. Coventry City of League One beat struggling Stoke City 2-1 to pile the pressure on Mark Hughes. Fullback Jack Grimmer scored a cracking goal, the winner from the home side, midway through the second half.
Oh, what a goal by Jack Grimmer! He's beaten Jack Butland, and Coventry City of League Two have retaken the lead, and Mark Hughes is a manager in real trouble.
Right at the last minute, I thought, after I took a touch just to shoot, and when I seen it sneak in the bottom corner, I think, if any photographers got the first couple of seconds after it went in, I think you would just see surprise on my face. I need to probably get better at goal celebrations, that's for sure.
Well, let's hope you have many more. I mean, as a team performance, how does this rate? Because you really dug in today.
Yeah, we did, and I think we made it very difficult for them. I think the pitch, they would probably want to come and play football on the pitch, didn't allow them to do that. But, they didn't come here and lie down. I felt that they worked hard and they worked us hard. It wasn't an easy game for us by any stretch of the imagination, and as you say, we dug in, and I think that is a sign of what this team can do. I think a bit more consistency in the league and we'll be having a great season.
It's a great goal, and you can see it on Match of the Day this evening, and Jack Grimmer is absolutely right talking to Ivan Gaskell. We watched the replay, and I think he was surprised he scored as well.
I was surprised Jack Butland let her in.
Yeah, it's a great strike though. Right, Ray's on the line. He's a Coventry City fan. Hi, Ray.
Hiya. Hello.
Hi. Congratulations, Ray. Well done.
Okay, we were mighty today. I've been following Coventry since 1970, and I don't think I've seen very, very few matches with that intensity, that heart, that desire, and sheer hard work. I mean, it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, our crowd could win the Champions League anyway. We were a tremendous crowd. That last 10 minutes, and we were blocking and blocking and blocking. Quite unbelievable. I mean, talk about putting your bodies on the line. That was amazing. And the goal well taken. I was a bit dubious about the penalty. It just sat in front of me, but I'll see it on Match of the Day. I just think it was a bit dubious, but you never know till you see it again, do you? But obviously we were amazing, and I think if we had owners worthy of the name and who treated the city and the fans with less than total contempt, we'd have that crowd every year, every match, and we're buzzing. I don't go to many home matches because of that. But if we can get that quality of football and get decent owners, I'll be there every week. Absolutely unbelievable.
The spirit you showed, Ray, was incredible, wasn't it? Even when it went 1-1, you went for it.
Yep, incredible. I had a little feeling today. I didn't make up my mind up to the last minute to go. I don't go to many home games, but I thought, we could win this. And, it's thrilling. Absolutely thrilling game. I mean, it's a good game anyway. And even, to be honest, even if we'd drawn or they'd nicked it, I still would have been a very, very good game of football. Absolutely tremendous. I think there'll be quite a few babies in Coventry born next October.
Good stuff, thank you. Thank you very much indeed, Ray. If you're a Coventry City fan, get on the phones now. We'd love to talk to you when we come back after the full-time whistle at Carrow Road. Robbie, now, Stoke City, what do you think? Because they've been eliminated from the FA Cup as a top-flight side against a side from the fourth tier or below for the first time since January 1938 against Bradford Park Avenue. Is this the end for Mark Hughes?
Is it the end for Mark Hughes? You know my feelings, Jason. It's getting very, very, very dodgy now. I've got to admit it. Results will dictate. They're in the bottom three now, out of the FA Cup to Coventry. What I will say, Jay, I watched that game as well. The players certainly tried for him. They missed chance after chance. Coventry defended so well. They just couldn't score the equaliser, Stoke. But results dictate what happens to you as a manager. The results for Stoke aren't good enough at this minute in time. The big question had as Stoke fans, because I'm sure they're going to phone up, if you want Mark Hughes to go, who is out there to replace him? That's the question I'll ask.
Who can keep you in the Premier League?
Who can keep you know, Mark Hughes will still believe he's the man. He knows, defensively again though, Jay, all over the place. They just couldn't score that equaliser. The question I'll ask Stoke fans, if you're going to come on, which I'm sure you will, come up with an option. If Mark Hughes is going to go, who do you want to, if he goes, who do you want to replace him?
You say you're sure that Stoke City fans will come on the programme. Already they are calling in their numbers. So we'll come to your calls after the full-time whistle at Carrow Road. We look forward to chatting to you. 08085 909 693. We're about to get underway in the Cup tie at Carrow Road. Let's say good evening to Pat Nevin and Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Jason. More from Jason and Robbie at the conclusion of the live football in just over 45 minutes' time. Chelsea are already back out on the pitch at Carrow Road. We're awaiting the home side Norwich City. And what do you think, Pat Nevin? Has Antonio Conte done the proverbial send them out early for the start of the second half?
Looks a wee bit like that, doesn't it? They've been out for a minute or so, and Norwich haven't made their way out yet. It may well be that they've been a little bit sluggish in coming out, but certainly he will have said to them, you've probably got 10 or 15 minutes. And it's a classic one. You better do something about this, because without being awful, Chelsea haven't been brilliant at all. And Norwich have been the better side. They've looked the livelier side. There's been a few mistakes through that Chelsea team. David Luiz has been caught in possession twice, which you can't afford to have, but that's understandable. He's been out for quite some time, and he does look a little bit sluggish, but they haven't controlled the midfield, and they haven't held the ball well up front. That's quite a lot to fix.
Norwich are out. Doesn't look like there's going to be any changes in personnel over the break. Norwich, who've got Angus Gunn, son of the Norwich legend Brian Gunn, in goal. Three central defenders, Zimmerman, Hanley and Klose. They've done well together as a unit. Pinto, the right wing back. Jamal Lewis, the teenager, the left wing back. Alexander Tettey and Tom Tribal in the middle of the park, with Pritchard and Madison in support of Josh Murphy up front. Murphy sort of on the left hand side but cutting in all the time, and he's looked the most dangerous threat in the game so far. Chelsea's team, 9 changes from the 2-2 draw against Arsenal. Cahill and Bakayoko, the only two who've kept their places. Caballeros, the goalkeeper. Rudiger, Luiz, Cahill, the 3 centre-backs. Zappacosta, right wing-back. Kennedy, left wing-back. Bakayoko alongside Drinkwater. And then Willian on the right, Pedro left, and Michy Batshuayi, who Chelsea will want to see much more from. He is the target man through the middle, and at the moment Christoph Zimmerman is just following him like his shadow. Wherever Batshuayi goes, Zimmerman goes in immediate pursuit, and then they've got the other 2 centre-backs floating around just as a bit of cover. Here is Tribal for Norwich, who are playing from left to right as we look down now. Ball is given away, disappointingly. A few groans from the Norwich fans. Batshuayi picks it up, scoots around Tribal and rolls the ball out to the near side, and this is Kennedy wearing the gloves. Pedro is with him. Midway inside the Norwich City half, 0-0 on 5 Live from the BBC in this FA Cup third round, as Pedro helps it on to Kennedy. Poor cross straight at Grant Hanley, who clears it out for a throw. Throw into Chelsea on the left hand side. Pat Nevin.
Very noticeable that Chelsea have tried to push Pedro a little bit further up and Willian a little bit further up the start of this second half. Trying to get on the front foot as much as they can. Certainly Antonio Conte during the first half was trying to push these players up from the defensive area. He wants to try and dominate a little bit more of this game. We weren't able to do it in the first half, and he's trying to make that difference at the start of the second.
Norwich have been knocked out in the third round in each of the last 4 seasons in a row, but they had the better chances in the first half here against the finalists from last season. Drinkwater on the halfway line for Chelsea. Their change strip, charcoal grey, light blue trim. Drinkwater, not flustered, just rolls it back to Cahill. And now over the halfway line again to Pedro, and a bit of forward impetus now. He's got Kennedy ahead of him. Pedro to the byline, sends in left foot across straight at the forehead of Grant Hanley, who nods it out of play. Throw into Chelsea. They remain on the attack on the left.
There was a good argument that this is the most sustained amount of pressure that Chelsea have had in the entirety of the game. Since the second half started, they've been on the attack.
Kennedy's cross to the left. Better one this time at the back post for Zappacosta, and it's cleared away by Zimmerman. The goalkeeper just for a moment had gone from right to left as having to go back across his goal again, but Zimmerman was there to clear it away. That's the best opportunity Chelsea have had. It was still only a half chance, but it was danger in the 6-yard box. Here is Willian, edge of the penalty area, turns, shoots, always way off target. Goal kick to Norwich.
Do you think the manager's giving them a rocket? Just a bit. You can see the difference. I mean, they really have livened up the half a yard quicker all over the field. They're pushing much higher up as well. And what was a very subdued display in the first half from Chelsea, they've started a little bit quicker, but it's up to them to keep it going if they want to stay in this competition. And of course for Norwich, they'll have expected at some point that Chelsea would turn it on a bit and turn the volume up and turn the pace up a little bit.
Are you suggesting, Pat, that Antonio Conte might have a bit of pent-up frustration at the moment of comments of certain
I've been in his company
rival managers
a few times, and trust me, you just need to have one look at the eyes. It's there, don't worry.
Norwich in possession, in defence with Grant Hanley. Good ball through to Teti. Chelsea were trying a press there. Bakayoko and Pedro were trying to close down Hanley, but because he's been able to smuggle the ball away, Chelsea defence now have to get back into position, I should say, but Norwich just a bit held up in midfield here, and Chelsea now do have their defensive unit back behind the ball. This is James Maddison, who we've seen a few glimpses of in the game so far. He's been most likely Norwich's best player this season, and they're happy to hold on to possession here. Back to Tim Klose, forward again to Grant Hanley. Now Teti inside the centre circle. Norwich looking comfortable on the ball for now.
Yeah, but they're being chased higher now, much higher. No one's getting the time in the ball that we're getting in the first half. Chelsea weren't doing that. They got the ball back there just quite simply by being, a little bit better in their tempo, closing down that a little bit more and asking questions and not making it easy for the Norwich players, and they got the ball easily back that time just by doing that.
Norwich travel to Bristol City in the Championship on Saturday. Then it's Sheffield United who come here to Carrow Road the following weekend. Norwich will travel to Brentford as well before the end of January. Arsenal, who've got that League Cup semi-final first leg, Chelsea against Arsenal on Wednesday in the Carabao Cup. Chelsea's next league game is at home to Leicester. Here is Batshuayi, shoots from a mile out, and unless it is a spectacular shot, you're not even going to trouble the goalkeeper from there. It wasn't.
The odd thing is about Batshuayi, every time he gets the ball, if he's within any vague area of range, he will shoot at goal, and it will generally end up on target. Not always in the goal, but it will generally end up on target. And the thing about that shot there, you're right, it was about 30 yards out, but it took a deflection, and now and again you get them, and that's a wee bit live and a little bit better from Batshuayi at the start of the second half.
Here is Kennedy, halfway line, left hand side for Chelsea, gives it away. Good interception by Teti. Norwich City regain possession, playing from left to right as we look down the canary yellow and green. Murphy, who saw a lot of ball in the first half, gives it away here. Batshuayi controls with his studs, shrugs off Zimmerman for once, and then all he can do is roll it back to David Luiz. First appearance for the Brazilian since November. Rudiger comes over the halfway line again, lays it up to Willian, can't make it stick. Norwich are going to get it back here. Oh, good hustle from Willian to make sure that he would hold on to possession for Chelsea. And now Bakayoko helps it on to Pedro, and Norwich have to retreat here. Pedro attacking the edge of the penalty area. Hanley trying to stay big, stay wide in front of him, block off any attempted pass. Batshuayi now turns in the D, back onto his right boot again, but two turns in two different directions, and Norwich are able to shut him down.
He's never looking for anything else, is he? He's not looking for a layback, he just wants to get a shot on target. He's just one of those strikers. He's all about goals, he's all about getting himself into a position, scoring goals. And there have been many great strikers in many great goal scorers. I'll change that. Not great strikers, great goal scorers. They will do that, they will be selfish, they've only got one thing in their mind. They might have the poorest game you've ever seen, but they'll end up with two goals in the back of the net.
Michy Batshuayi, who scored 7 goals this season, 2 of them in the Premier League, has been given a run in the cup competitions a lot, as he is here tonight. And Chelsea yet to create a proper opportunity, a clean sight of goal for the young Belgian striker. Here is Drinkwater in possession for Chelsea. Back to Bakayoko, who'll roll it to Rudiger. Norwich fall back into a defensive unit. Rudiger gives it to Drinkwater once again. Snapped pass back to David Luiz. Now Cahill over the halfway line to Pedro on the left-hand side. He's looking for Batshuayi, but Hanley this time stretches in to clear it away. Only straight to Drinkwater. Willian now. That's a lovely turn from Willian to create a bit of space on the edge of the penalty area. Gets into the box. Chance to look up. He's on the right-hand side. Pulls it back for Drinkwater. He was off balance as he hit it. It's a good chance, but he puts it wide.
A hard one to take there. It was coming across his body there, and it was on the half bounce as well. But he takes it. He swings a leg at it more than anything else, and it's on his left foot, not his favoured foot. But you just see Chelsea have dominated the start of this second half. They've been on the ball for the entirety. They've closed down Norwich. They've given them no space whatsoever. Players like Willian look like half a yard quicker, or maybe even more than that. So I'm absolutely convinced the manager's had a real strong word. Changed the tactics slightly as well, and it's made a big difference to this game for Chelsea. They look the better team now.
Last time Chelsea lost to Norwich in any competition, 1994, when Glenn Hoddle was the manager. Chelsea unbeaten in 13 games against tonight's opponent since then. There's a Tim Klose, gives it to Tom Tribal. Norwich trying to play the way out of trouble, but they're not finding it as easy and straightforward as they did in the first half, as Pritchard stretches, won't get control of the ball, back to Caballero. But Chelsea have certainly stepped it up since half time. This is Kennedy on the halfway line. Back to Gary Cahill.
The one thing you will say about the Chelsea players, you can't blame tiredness for the fact that they weren't up for it in the first half.
No, 9 changes.
With so many players here have not been playing a huge amount of games here, so they should be absolutely up for it. But then, classically, are you match fit if you've not played enough games?
Well, that's it. I mean, discuss David Luiz, first appearance since November. He's looked sluggish, but would you expect that back?
To be honest, you would give him certainly the benefit of doubt for a game or two after this.
Here is Willian, 10 yards outside the Norwich City penalty area. He's got Drinkwater right alongside him. Now Bakayoko more to the left. Maddison's trying to get close. At the moment, Norwich just shifting across, trying to cut out the angles as Kennedy attacks the edge of the penalty area. Back to Bakayoko. He hits it and it's way off target. And it was speculative, to say the least. It remains Norwich 0, Chelsea 0. We've played 10 minutes now in the second half.
Well, there have been a few shots from outside the box, and Bakayoko's had one. Certainly Kennedy's had a couple as well. Williams had one or two as well. They've been outside the box, and even you could add to that Drinkwater. But Chelsea getting down the line and putting balls across the 6-yard line, the kind of balls that Batshuayi lives off, he wants to get in the end of. They've just not been doing it as much as they usually do, which must be very, very infuriating for the Belgian striker there, because that's the one thing that Chelsea are generally brilliant at.
No goals here earlier on today. Coventry beat Stoke, that's a League 2 team beating a Premier League team. Bournemouth held to a draw by League 1 Wigan. Fleetwood drew with Leicester, and you can watch all the goals on the BBC Sport website. That's available now, and if you want to wait for Match of the Day, BBC One 10:30 tonight with Gabby Logan. There's also a Match of the Day tomorrow night. Well, there's more games in the FA Cup. More on that in a moment. Here is Willian trying to create some space. He's done well for himself on the edge of the penalty area. Shoots on target. Good save from Gunn. And that's the best chance of the game so far. Willian trying to beat the goalkeeper down to his left. Finger tipped out for the corner.
And usually Willian puts it to the far corner from there. So Gunn must have been thinking about that. But he keeps it low, and he gets a very, very strong hand on it. But so far, Norwich have hardly been out their half.
Corner take it to Pedro on the edge of the box, who hits it first time and hits it over the top.
Peppering the Norwich goal now. What a difference in this half. Just, it's not even tactic positionally. All the players are playing the same position for Chelsea. They're just going a little bit quicker, closing down quicker, making sure Norwich can't get on the ball easily, but also every single one of them being lively and having a hit, giving them, in fact, to pepper that goal. Having said that, goalkeeper's been up to it so far.
Chelsea warming up, but still 0-0. Last night we brought you Liverpool's victory in the Merseyside derby in the FA Cup. Already today we were at Fleetwood. We were at the Coventry against Stoke game. This is our third commentary of the day in the FA Cup, and tomorrow we've got Newport against Leeds. That starts at 12 noon. Shrewsbury against West Ham is at 2 o'clock kickoff. Both those games will be live here on 5 Live as Maddison helps the ball out to Pritchard on the far side. Support from Jamal Lewis. Norwich have got possession, but from being up on the edge of the Chelsea penalty area, they now retreat to hold on to it.
Yeah, but I think
the
they
back
should
of the
keep
halfway
it.
line.
I think they should keep it. This is a good time for Norwich to say, all right, we've not had much of the ball. They've given it away though.
Mistake made. Pedro to Batshuayi. Now Willian Chelsea not exactly pouncing on it yet, but they might do now. Willian, oh brilliant, goes past two into the penalty area, shoots straight at the goalkeeper, and Angus Gunn makes the save. Norwich have just, for the first time in the game, with their backs to the wall, and we've only played 12 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, but they've had 12 minutes in the one half here. And again, there's been 5 or 6 decent shots on target from the Chelsea players. Willian has really started the second half on fire. They can't stop him, they can't get near him at the moment. And Norwich, they're looking around to each other, wondering whether this is all going wrong for them.
That's the voice of Pat Nevin watching this game with us on 5 Live, former Chelsea player. Chelsea have it with Drinkwater midway inside the Norwich half. Zappacosta available up from right wing back. Feeds it back in field again to Drinkwater midway inside the Norwich half. And a good pressing there by Tribal. And eventually the ball goes out of play on the far side. And a free kick has been given for a late challenge on Zappacosta by Jamal Lewis. Free kick to Chelsea.
How similar was that challenge there to the challenge that David Luiz put in the first half? Got a yellow card for. Very, very similar. He's dived in there and he's certainly got a bit of Zappacosta. In fact, it is identical to the one. I suppose young Lewis, being young and impetuous, maybe getting a little bit more leeway.
So Willian stands over the free kick. Good position here to cross from the right hand side, right in front of the huge contingent of Chelsea supporters who've made their way here to Carrow Road this evening for this Teton game. And Willian has got a lot of options here. David Luiz is up, Rudiger is up, Cahill is up. Willian, here he comes, right-footed delivery into the busy penalty area. Luiz nearest to it at the front post. It came to him low and he clears away. Long clearance. Oh, the goalkeeper's miles out of the penalty area here, but he knows what he's doing, Caballero, and he gets the header at James Maddison and he puts it out for a throw.
The Manchester City way.
Yes. Yeah, that was drilled into him by Pep Guardiola last season. By the way, just as that free kick came in low, it did spark to mind the famous Gianfranco Zola goal, which was scored for Chelsea. Do you remember the one from a corner, the sort of backheel volley at the near post? That was against Norwich all those years ago. That would have been the sort of finish David Luiz would have had to resurrect if he was to get anything on target after what was a disappointing ball in from Willian.
Yeah, but again, there's enough Chelsea players there, and they're all attacking it well. There's just been a free kick there, was it? I think his foot stepped on in the midfield there. I think it was Maddison, wasn't it? Yes. Don't think it was anything viciously deliberate about it, but he'll feel that one on a cold night like tonight with his studs on his boot.
Free kick to Norwich, and Maddison is still inspecting his ankle area and making sure everything's still there. Looks like he might be the man to take the free kick, which is 10-12 yards inside the Chelsea half. Chelsea bring everyone back behind the ball. Just with the break in play there, the coach, Daniel Farke, forward in his playing days, had a little word with Alex Pritchard, some instruction for him. Free kick is taken by James Maddison into the penalty area, headed down by Tim Closer, but that's going to go out for a goal kick. And Norwich, who attacked with regularity in the first half but are finding it difficult to have any sort of presence inside the Chelsea penalty area now.
It's one of the big things about why Antonio Conte would have been very frustrated. The concept of a draw or a replay is not what Chelsea want at all at this point in the season, with Champions League 2 semi-finals coming up against Arsenal.
Absolutely. When I interviewed Jose Mourinho in the tunnel at Old Trafford last night, that's what he said. He said the most important thing is we didn't have the second match, he called it. That looked like a foul on Pritchard. Referee blows the whistle, wants to have a word with Gary Cahill, and Cahill now is going to go in the referee's notebook. So Luiz and Cahill shown yellow cards.
Again, that was a very rash tackle by Cahill. He's gone quite straight-legged at that there. I don't think there's any massive injury, but if you dive in like that, don't get the ball and you get the player, you're going to have to accept a yellow card. There can be no argument with that one whatsoever. Having said that, I think there's a little bit of, seen another angle of it there, and I think Pritchard was making sure that he wasn't going to be hurt either when he went into that, but I think Gary Cahill, being the slightly bigger chap, had a bit of an advantage there.
You see, that's why the VAR is going to be good. You went from there can be no doubt about that to hold on.
No doubt, it is a yellow card, but it actually could be one for Pritchard too, because he went in dangerously.
Gotcha. Here is Willian, midway inside the Chelsea half, tried to break away. Norwich have committed a lot of players forward. Good work by Teddy to get it back. And Norwich still have those players in attack, as Klose, who loses it almost. Murphy comes in to try and keep it alive. Now he's taken down. Chelsea are putting in a bit of muscle here on Norwich and trying to keep them keep Chelsea's position as being the dominant force in the game. Whenever Norwich get the ball, the last 5-10 minutes, an immediate foul to stop them in their flow.
Well, what they were doing earlier in this half is Chelsea were closing down and winning the ball. But at the moment they're not getting quite as close just now. It was harder to do that or keep on doing that for the entirety of the half. And Norwich have got the composure back just a little bit these last 2 or 3 minutes, and it's led to this rush of fouls.
Let's see what Norwich can do with this set piece. James Maddison standing over the free kick, wide on the left hand side. It's a crossing position, and they've committed a number of players forward. Here comes the delivery, headed straight up into the air by Batshuayi. It's going to come down for Zimmerman. Back into the mix. Pritchard tries to control. Oh, he's done really well to control in the penalty area. To turn, to shoot. It's deflected, and it's over the goalkeeper, but it's also over the crossbar. It'll be a corner. That's one of Norwich City's best chances of the game.
They were desperate to get on the front foot. They were under so much pressure for that 10 or 15 minutes there. But they've got it back now. They look a little bit more composed again. They expected it to happen at some point, but they've been brave enough to get back on the ball again, and a lot of it's been down to Pritchard and Maddison these last few minutes.
Maddison to take the corner, does a little dummy run up and then decides he wants to do that again. It's on the left hand side as Norwich City come forward. Here it comes, not a bad delivery at all into the penalty area. The header down from Tim Klose is off target. That was a chance.
It was a chance, but I'll be honest with you, I think the referee was called for a free kick there because it was so obviously up in the shoulders of Cahill there, holding Cahill down. And I think the referee would have had to do that. Yeah, definitely. He was holding them down with both hands.
No, you're right. I was wondering how he had such a free header, and that's why. Yeah.
Very, very clear. And I think the referee had a quick word there with Gary Cahill, just as he walked by, as if to say, "It's okay, mate, I spotted it." But again, it's a little bit more like it was a bit one-sided there for a moment. But it's not again now. Again, Norwich are back into the game, and I think we're getting into that period of time when managers will be thinking of making changes. See if that can make a difference to the game.
Norwich pressing really high up the pitch here, putting a lot of time constraint on the Chelsea defenders, but Chelsea comfortable on the ball, managed to work their way out of trouble. This is Willian on the right wing, just holds up. That's not a good ball for Zappacosta. In nips Jamal Lewis, and then Zappacosta fouls Lewis, and that's a free kick to Norwich. And it's evening up again. You're right, Pat.
Yeah, to be honest, Lewis we've talked about a few times in that left back position. As you say, he's only made his debut, is it 2 weeks ago or so? He's had a great game because Zappacosta, each time he's played for Chelsea this season, he's generally been superb. He's got phenomenal pace. But I'll tell you what, he hasn't get past Lewis at any point in this game, or very rarely get past Lewis. So the young man can be very, very proud of himself this evening.
Reminder of the breaking news, if you didn't hear it, the BBC understands that Felipe Coutinho's transfer to Barcelona has been rubber stamped. £142 million to take him from Anfield to the new camp. More of that on the BBC Sport website, more coming up later on 5 Live, and I'm sure to be discussed with Jason Mohammed and Robbie Savage on 606, which is coming up once the live football is over here. 25 minutes to play at Carrow Road. No goals yet between Championship side Norwich and Chelsea of the Premier League, and here is Zappacosta on the ball, and Jamal Lewis doing very well there to coax him back and force Chelsea to the halfway line.
Time and again he's doing it. It's very, very impressive because a lot of defenders haven't been able to do that with Zappacosta when he's been playing either right or left.
And, for the listeners who might not have been with us in the first half, Jamal Lewis only made his senior debut just before Christmas as Pedro turns and shoots, but it's a tame shot, bounces once and up into the arms of the young goalkeeper Angus Gunn. So Norwich 0, Chelsea 0.
I think I'd be quite pleased with that Norwich. I mean, they have I said that Chelsea have peppered that Norwich goal, but they've been peppering it from 25 and 30 yards out, and they believe in their goalkeeper is good enough to save most of them. It's going to have to be something special. Unfortunately for them, there is one or two special finishers in that Chelsea team, so if Pedro or Willian particularly catches the ball right, they are very dangerous even from that distance.
Morata is warming up for Chelsea. Here is Pedro attacking the penalty area on the left hand side. He's got Kennedy with him if he needs it. Teddy comes close to apply pressure, so Pedro does give it to Kennedy. Back to Pedro, now Bakayoko. Terrible ball from Bakayoko. It's a little dink that Pedro was supposed to run onto, but so it wasn't lit at all. It was a firm push of the ball, and no way Pedro could get there, and that's disappointing from Bakayoko.
Do you know, if it's Cesc Fabregas or the aforementioned Coutinho or Kevin De Bruyne, that pass is doable, but I'm just not sure Bakayoko's got that one in his locker.
And just quickly, Pat, on the Coutinho transfer, do you now think playing, and this is no disrespect to his teammates at Liverpool, but playing in Barcelona with Messi and company, is Coutinho going to be an even better player now?
You always want to play with the best players you can possibly play with, and you don't get any better than the guys that are around you at Barcelona. Well, particularly one guy, Messi, and also their team ethic, the ethos of the team, the way they play will suit them. I haven't said that. The team ethos at Liverpool is fantastic under Klopp as well. So, but it's a hard one to turn down, and it is taking nothing away from Liverpool. Barcelona are one of the, if not the great side in world football in the past 10 years or so.
Yeah, I think there's two clubs, isn't there? Real Madrid and Barcelona. If you leave to join either of those, you can't really begrudge them.
You just about take it.
You say, well, okay. 0-0 here at Carrow Road. Josh Murphy had a very busy first half, has been much quieter in the second period. Loops an enormous ball to Pinto, who was always going to struggle to control it. Pinto raises a thumbs up. I think that's to keep morale up as much as anything. He says it's a good idea to swing it over to me, but that execution was poor, and it returns possession to Chelsea, playing from right to left as we look down in their change strip tonight. Chelsea.
It's a hard one, by the way, to take for Liverpool fans. So obviously Suarez, when he makes the journey as well, it's you ain't going to develop these fantastic players, make a big profit, but wow, if you had Suarez still around at Liverpool and Coutinho as well with Salah added on, what a forward line that would have been.
Absolutely. So, free kick to Norwich. Can they get their noses in front in this FA Cup third round tie? James Maddison is standing over it. It's by the touchline on the right hand side, but it's level with the edge of the penalty area. Chelsea have everyone back inside the box defending, apart from Pedro, who's the one-man wall closer to the ball. Referee needs eyes in the back of his head. There's a lot of pushing in the penalty area. Here's the delivery, good from Maddison, punched away by the goalkeeper. What a chance, but full on the volley back in from Murphy, and he's not been able to hit the target with the goalkeeper out of position. It was difficult technique, but what an opportunity for Norwich to take the lead.
Do you know what? A lot of goalkeepers do go for that punch. He's gone for the one-handed punch. You've got to catch that absolutely clean to get it height and distance. He didn't do that, so it was a poor mistake and a poor punch.
Corner to Norwich. Poor punch there from Caballero. But a poor corner this time from Maddison. Batshuayi is able to head it away. Back into the mix from Teti. Going to come down on the edge of the Chelsea penalty area, and Cahill wasn't really sure what was going on, so he's just taken the safe option and he's headed it out for a throw. So Norwich remain on the attack on the right hand side. That was a chance for Norwich. Daniel Farke, their coach, will know it.
But not an easy one.
Not an easy one. Yeah. But to beat Chelsea, you need something like that to go your way, perhaps.
Absolutely, 100%. Slightly surprised, we're getting toward the 70th minute, only 20 minutes to go, and as we were talking about before, the last thing Chelsea in particular want is another game at this stage of the season. And still, there's movement in the bench, but there's no obvious sign that anyone's going to come on quickly. And the man you keep on looking to is Morata, but he's still doing a very light warm-up.
Into the last 20 minutes then. Drinkwater on the halfway line for Chelsea. Flicks it on towards Willian, who's probably been Chelsea's best player tonight, but well cut out by Alex Pritchard, the former Spurs player. And now Pinto will come away with possession on the right hand side, and that's played up towards Jacob Murphy. That will push to the back, was it by Luiz? Referee waited just a moment, Stuart Atwell, but then he blew the whistle and he says free kick to Norwich inside the Chelsea half.
And I don't think David Luiz can have any argument about that. That's a very, very obvious shove in the back there. Didn't need to do that, but once again, no more than a free kick.
First domestic game since October for David Luiz. He did play in the Champions League in November. Norwich have given the ball away. Batshuayi 15 yards inside his own half. Oh, terrible hesitation, and he allows Tribal to win possession back again. Batshuayi's not had his finest evening in a Chelsea shirt, to say the least.
Yeah, but just once again, eyes straight down to Antonio Conte there. And this time he couldn't hide it. He just turned away and held his face in his hands there. He was not impressed with that. And I'm so unimpressed that Morata's getting his top off right now.
Good work by Pritchard. Getting away from Rudiger. Rudiger, though, very disciplined player. Keeps running, closes down Klose, puts it out for a throw-in on the far side. Yeah, there's all sorts of action now down inside the dugout, proper old-fashioned dugout here at Carrow Road. Throw-in on the far side, taken by Jamal Lewis. Chelsea get it back again. Batshuayi crowded out of it appears. Oh, he's done well to wriggle away there. And then he skips away from Teti, and he's up over the halfway line, Batshuayi. Support from Zappa Costa with the golden boots on the right-hand side. He's got Willian outside him. This is 10 yards outside the Norwich City penalty area. Willian onto Drinkwater, good play. Here is Zappacosta, crossing position now, well closed down, and it comes off Jamal Lewis for a corner. Corner to Chelsea on the right-hand side, 18 minutes to play.
It'll be intriguing to see who actually comes off. I mean, we've been talking about Batshuayi, but it's not an absolute stick on he will come off. They could change the system, Chelsea. They could maybe take Kennedy off and keep 2 centre forwards on and try and win this game late. So it's not an absolute given yet. I'm trying to see if I can see the numbers. Not yet.
No, Morata's definitely coming on. We await to see who's going off as Chelsea prepare to take this corner on the right hand side. Good crowd inside Carrow Road. And the Norwich City fans have enjoyed how their team have kept Chelsea at bay so far. As Willian puts it across with the outside of the right boot, well headed away by Hanley, and now Josh Murphy for a moment thought he might have been on his bike there, but Zappacosta got back and nudged it to the goalkeeper Caballero.
That's one thing that Chelsea have certainly got there. They leave back Zappacosta, he's got lightning pace, as has Rudiger, and to be honest sometimes they leave Pedro as one of the deeper men now and again as well, and he's got lightning pace, so it's hard to run away from those sort of players.
Confirmation of the best kept secret in football today. Liverpool have officially confirmed that Coutinho is leaving for Barcelona. It is subject to medical and personal terms, but Felipe Coutinho, £142 million, is leaving Anfield, confirmed now by the club. Much discussion on that, I'm sure, to come with Jason and Robbie in 6:06 in just over a quarter of an hour's time, plus the stoppages. It is Batshuayi who will make way, and he doesn't look all that thrilled about it as he trudges his way off the pitch to allow Alvaro Morata, Chelsea's top scorer for the season, on his first taste of the FA Cup. And Norwich should probably take this as a compliment that Conte needs to bring on his top scorer now. He may have hoped the game might have been looked after by now.
Yeah, and he's gone over. Conte's applauded Batshuayi off and gave him a handshake, etc. Because I mean, he may or may not know himself it wasn't a good day, as you say, for him. But Batshuayi will turn around and say, well, did you give him any chances? Yeah. And to be honest, no one did give him any chances at all.
He's not had a chance in the game. Bakayoko here, battling on the edge of the penalty area. Hanley, big and strong, manages to get it away. Chelsea will regain possession. David Luiz to Zappacosta, right hand side of the midfield. This is midway into Norwich territory. He's got Willian outside him on the right wing. Back to Zappacosta. Now this is a good opportunity. Chance to look up. Drills in across. Too low though. Straight at Klose, who can easily clear away. And the quality of that final ball is still eluding Chelsea.
Just at the moment, psychologically it's changed a little bit. We're now in a line with the Norwich back line. They have just went back a few more yards than they had been before with Morata coming on. It's just a little psychological change for them. Now they don't really want to do that either. Well, if they want to win the game, but it may well be that they quite fancy the draw. I mean, it's maybe not the worst thing in the world for Norwich, the financial reward.
Go to Stamford Bridge, yeah, absolutely. Norwich in possession with goalkeeper Angus Gunn, clears it straight down the centre of the pitch. 15 minutes to play of normal time. Rudiger for Chelsea will send it back to the goalkeeper Caballero. Chelsea preparing to make another change, and down there Sholly Musonda, another Belgian, is getting ready to come on. Chelsea need something here, and as Pat said, they really don't want a replay. Here is Willian inside the centre circle. He's so good in a tight area. Pedro helps it onto Bakayoko. Surge towards the box. Hanley holds him up, and he's going to be booked for that. Grant Hanley taking down Bakayoko outside the penalty area. Free kick to Chelsea.
Do you realise one of the first real bombs forward that you've seen from Bakayoko? We were talking right at the start of the game of how good he was at that last season with Monaco, and no one can stay with him. We haven't seen it today, have we? And that's the first time that he's actually driven forward away from the other midfielders, and well, he looked dangerous when he did so, and he got a free kick. Now, dangerous area, and you would call this Willian territory.
Yes.
Having said that, David Luiz is looking interested too.
David Luiz is saying, I've not played for a while, I wouldn't mind a little pop of this. And Stuart Atwell gets the ref spray out and now counts out the 10 yards for the wall. You just feel, the 9 changes in the team, the longer this goes on, and the Chelsea still have more in the tank. Just 1 change in the Norwich City team from the side that played on Monday. Willian is giving this due care and attention. David Luiz brushes the hair out of his eyes. Could be either of them here, 2 Brazilians. David Luiz runs up and hits it, and it was dipping, but not dipping enough, and it sails over the top.
Not dissimilar to a goal that he actually scored against Liverpool quite some time back up at Anfield, David Luiz. This time the goalkeeper was ready for it and may well have got across in time. You're right, it was dipped, but I'm sure Gunn had it covered.
Great technique, David Luiz. I mean, he's almost side-footed that, isn't he? But such power on it, and the swerve, and whatever way he hits it, it moves in the air.
Yeah, it certainly does. And he made that change. Yeah, I'm not surprised that. To be honest, Kennedy's worked hard enough. But if you're going to get a place in this first team at Chelsea, when you come in, you've got to take a chance. You've got to be very, very special indeed. And he didn't really do enough today, did he? To put pressure on Eden Hazard, to be fair.
12 and a half minutes to play. No goals at Carrow Road between Championship side Norwich and Chelsea of the Premier League. More details coming through of the Felipe Coutinho transfer, confirmed now by Liverpool. It's a 5.5-year deal he signed at Barcelona. And if you want to buy him back, by the way, if Liverpool fans say, well, we could buy him back, there's a buyout clause.
Oh, good. That
There's a buyout clause of €400 million if you want to sign Coutinho now from Barcelona.
You have to keep the snow mashing afloat for a year.
Indeed. Mind you, the way transfer fees just are multiplying at the moment, how long until sort of 400, 500 million becomes the normal transfer fee? You know, I mean, because we would have said, I mean, he's gone today for 142. Even 2 years ago, Pat, we'd have got 142.
Yeah, it's a market, and if the money's in that market, which it may well be if, you know, the way the Premier League sold around the world, you know, the way that the rights are sold when China's getting bigger and maybe USA, so there are other markets to go to. And
bubble's got to burst sometime, though, doesn't it?
To be honest, how long have you said that for?
True, very true. Norwich 0, Chelsea 0. Drinkwater onto Morata, and he's immediately crowded out of it by 3 Norwich defenders, and Pritchard, good ball over the top. Murphy's onside here. He's got David Luiz in front of him, just edge of the penalty area on the right hand side. Pedro tries to help out as well. Still Murphy goes for a wild lash of a shot. He was hoping it would drift into the far top corner, but it drifts away wide. Still worth the effort, you would think, though. He didn't have much support there, Josh Murphy.
Yeah, you've taken the words out of my mouth there, Connor. Absolutely spot on. And it's right what you were saying just 5 or so minutes ago. There is a bit of tiredness about a number of Norwich players now. When they break with a bit of pace, all the midfielders ain't getting there this time. Maybe one gets alongside Murphy there, but not enough.
Rudiger goes long, and Morata is offside. Good first touch, mind you, to control it, but the flag had been raised on the far side.
Chelsea is still playing the similar 3-4-3 that they were before, and in this occasion Pedro's playing in that wide wing back position, allowing Charlie Masonda to play in the left wing. He's not had a touch of the ball yet, and I don't know if you've watched him play at all. He's got a trick or two.
Yeah.
He certainly has got a couple of special tricks.
Some activity on the bench for Norwich. I think Nelson Oliveira, their Portuguese striker, might be getting ready for a late cameo here. We're into the last 10 minutes of the match. It might even be that Norwich are going to make a double change as Maddison helps the ball forward. There's a foul by Bakayoko. Free kick to Norwich, midway inside the Chelsea half.
Looking at those front players, particularly Murphy, he's just run all night, and his pace has been good as well. And so he will maybe be a little bit tired. That much for a temptation. I'm having a look at that free kick there. Boy, was that a light free kick.
Free kick taken by Maddison, wasted by Maddison into the penalty area, and easily claimed by the goalkeeper, Willy Caballero.
Well, you look at it now, whereas Norwich were closing down Chelsea up earlier on. Look at them now, all retreating, the entire team getting back inside their own half. This is a very, very different ethic towards the game, very different style. Hey, but it's a sensible thing to do. They've only got 10 minutes to last.
One goal will win it now. David Luiz direct again towards Alvaro Morata, and then it falls out for Drinkwater, whose technique is good. The shot's on target, but Gunn gets across to save it to the left. He was a long way out there, Drinkwater, but it was a good shot.
I don't know about you. Do you think Gunn's going to get beat from 25 yards today? Because I don't.
No. Oh, hang on. Shot from the halfway line. I think the whistle had blown anyway, and it sails up over the crossbar.
He's looked very, very good, Gunn. I mean, he will get comparisons with his dad as the years go by, and I'm sure it's already happened. You can fail to do so, but I'll tell you what, he's looked incredibly impressive today. Morata was almost through there.
Morata, since Morata's come on, I'm not going to call it long ball football, but it's become very direct football from Chelsea.
No, I agree to some extent, but Morata goes beyond, whereas Batshuayi seems to go short. And Morata will go short and then go beyond. So that ball's on to play, and David Luiz will try and play it, and other players will try and play it. Rudiger will try and play that ball over the top. We used to watch Fabregas doing it as well. But he's intelligent enough to know when to make those runs and time them well.
There's nothing wrong with direct football if you can play the right pass. As Norwich now make their change, Josh Murphy will leave the field, and on will come Nelson Oliveira, the Portuguese man, former Benfica player. He was in Portugal's squad at the Euros in 2012. He still gets a game every now and again with Portugal. He scored for them against the Faroe Islands this season. He's going to come on for the last 7.5 minutes plus the stoppages and try and nick a goal that could knock Chelsea out of the FA Cup.
Yeah, it's no surprise that that's the change been made, and that's nothing against what Murphy's done. He's absolutely, he's the best player in the first half. I think he was the most dangerous player in the first half on either side. He has tired near the end here, but that's totally and utterly understandable. And as you say, Oliveira comes on. He's a natural centre forward, and he'll enjoy playing against David Luiz.
The big story today off the field, Felipe Coutinho's transfer, £142 million to Barcelona. Some quotes have come through from Jurgen Klopp. We'll try and read them out for you here if we get a break in play. Let's just see what Chelsea do here. Pedro, bit of room, bit of grass to run into down the left-hand side. Still plenty of energy in those legs from the Norwich City midfielders, though, as they get back. Here is Musonda, edge of the penalty area, looking up for options, lays it short to Bakayoko, under pressure from Tribal. Tribal's held him up at the very least, but Bakayoko holds on to possession. Poor ball, cut out by Jamal Lewis. Norwich City get it back again. Referee blows the whistle for a foul as well, and that's going to be a free kick to Norwich and a chance for them to clear it away. So 0-0 here. Here's what Jurgen Klopp has been saying about Felipe Coutinho going to Barcelona. He says, "It is no secret that Felipe has wanted this move to happen since July, when Barcelona first made their interest known." He says, "I can tell the Liverpool supporters that we as a club have done everything within our means to convince Felipe that remaining part of Liverpool was as attractive as moving to Spain, but he is 100% certain that his future and that of his family belongs at Barcelona. It is his dream, and I am now convinced there is nothing left at our disposal to change his mind." Those are the words from Jurgen Klopp reacting to the move that Felipe Coutinho is leaving Liverpool and joining Barcelona. They have confirmed that this evening. Just over 5 minutes of normal time to go at Carrow Road. Chelsea falling back into a defensive position at the moment. Norwich have the ball with Klose on the left-footed ball in field towards Maddison, who I don't think was expecting it. Just at the moment, Norwich have committed a lot of players up the field here, and if Chelsea can sting them on the counter-attack, they could be in. However, excellent defending by Christoph Zimmer to hold off Morata in the centre circle, and Norwich hold on to possession, and they pump it long towards Oliveira, who's just come on as a substitute for them, and he's strong, and he brushes off Pedro, and Pedro doesn't give up and sticks out a leg and nudges the ball away, but it falls here for Tetti, midway inside the Chelsea half. If Norwich can get one goal here, Chelsea are going to be out of the FA Cup. Pedro tries to come on the counter-attack, and for the first time a sign of tiredness there as Tetti stretches out a leg and blatantly trips Pedro, and he's going to go into the referee's notebook for that.
Again, it hasn't been a dirty game. There's been a few yellow cards thrown out. No great complaints for any of the yellow cards when they have been shown for the referee. I don't think we can actually look back and see any bad mistakes with the referee. There's not been that many tough decisions to make. But at the moment, this game's, I wouldn't say it's petering out, but you wouldn't be surprised now if it gets to the end now. 5 minutes, probably 3 or 4 minutes injury time as well. And Chelsea haven't created that many chances since Morata's come on.
Yannick Vilchet's about to come on as a late change for Norwich. 0-0 here on 5 Live for the BBC. And a good canter after the ball by Jamal Lewis down the left-hand side, up against Rudiger. Rudiger just about got there first. That was excellent from the young teenage left wing-back. And eventually the ball goes out of play for a goal kick.
I think Rudiger's in a state of shock there, because I had a look at some of the statistics about a month ago, and he was sitting second quickest player in the Premier League, Rudiger. Second quickest behind Sané. So, you know, it was stunning that he's not used to people running away from him. He's just been done for pace by 2 players today. You know, Murphy, who did it in the first half for pure pace, and certainly there, we're hammering down the left-hand side of Lewis there.
Oh, there's a confrontation on the sidelines there between Rudiger and a Norwich City supporter. Now, it wasn't anything like as prolonged as the scenes we saw with Jake Livermore, but he jumped over the advertising board. He went forward to forward with the fan, and then he obviously realised, I've got to be so careful here, and he just jumped back over the advertising hoardings and back onto the pitch.
And where that happened is right beside the police as well. There's a whole bunch of, I think it's police or maybe stewards, a bunch of yellow and orange jackets over there. Weird.
Just shows Chelsea are pumped up here. They've been frustrated by Norwich tonight.
No, I think Rudiger's incredibly frustrated, and something may have been said, we don't know. I think he's shocked, and that he's actually, as I say, he's been down for a pace twice, and that just doesn't happen to him.
David Luiz for Chelsea, who are running out of time here to avoid a replay that they really, really don't need. They've got 2 legs of a League Cup semi-final against Arsenal, both of them this month, and as soon as February starts, the Champions League is back underway. There's very few midweeks that this replay could actually happen. Crunching tackle comes in by Ivan Pinto, and the referee says it is a foul.
Yeah, it says there's action with the legs there, one on either side, and even though he got the ball, you're not allowed to scissors around someone's legs to get it. The referee's got that one right.
Free kick to Chelsea. Can they nick a late winner here to knock Norwich out? Norwich bring everyone back behind the ball. They're holding a defensive line on the edge of the penalty area. Willian standing over this free kick near the chalk of the touchline on the left-hand side, and he's got a lot to aim for here. Here's the delivery from Willian, flicked onto the front post by Danny Drinkwater. Bakayoko's going to try and keep it alive. Grant Hanley is in there, manages to shrug it away, only as far as Zappacosta. Good technique to have a shot at all, but again, from that sort of distance, 7 or 8 yards outside the penalty area, it was never going to trouble Angus Gunn.
No, absolutely no chance at all. I don't think any Chelsea fan over there expected anything else either. Zappacosta has scored from distance this season already. In fact, there was one from the wide right in a Champions League game, which I don't think was deliberate at all. Chelsea will make another change just now.
6:06 coming up with Jason Mohammed and Robbie Savage very, very shortly. And the man who is
Sterling's coming on.
Yeah, Dujon Sterling, young English midfielder, 18 years of age, yet to make his Premier League debut. Has played in the League Cup this season. He was a member of England's successful under-19 squad that played in the European Championship over the summer. So he comes on for very much the closing stages here.
I mean, one thing about Antonio Conte, he's made incredible changes at the end of games last season. He's done a few this season as well. Let's see if he's going to do it again with a minute to go less than a minute to go of real time.
Turning on for Pedro. Chelsea cross it into the penalty area, headed away by Pinto, but it'll be kept in play here by Willian. Left hand side for Chelsea. It's 0-0 at Carrow Road. Willian to Drinkwater, floats one in towards Morata. Flag is raised, and a flag that will mean Chelsea are offside and that Norwich get a free kick. Morata's going to relieve some pressure.
Morata's complaining about saying he was being held. I'm convinced that Morata was actually offside when the ball was played, and in fact we've got a replay, and I'm quite correct in that one. He was offside, just marginally, but he was offside.
Here comes the board from the fourth official.
Come on, guess. I'm going
for 4. Guess. 4 minutes, says Pat Nevin.
What do you think?
And it's 3. He was close.
I noticed you didn't go for the guess.
I've learnt over the years, don't guess at things that you're not going to guess right. 3 minutes being added on here at Carrow Road. 3 minutes for either of these teams to grab a winner and put their name into the FA Cup draw for the 4th round. That draw which you'll hear live here on 5 Live, also on the BBC website and live on BBC 2. 7:10 on Monday night ahead of the Brighton game. Tomorrow I'll be at Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest play Arsenal. It's the 4 o'clock kickoff on 5 Live. 4 games tomorrow. We've got them all covered. Here is Willian to Masunda on the edge of the box. Shoots. Deflection, was it? No deflection. Just wide. Goal kick to Norwich.
No lack of confidence there. Masunda trying to get on the ball as quickly as possible in this game. Have some effect on it. He's certainly not lacking in confidence there. Lots of other players want to have a shot, but that was a poor one, and it was almost 6 yards wide. Antonio
Conte will not be relishing the thought of meeting Norwich again at Stamford Bridge, but
the other side of it, what they could do, Chelsea could do, if they are worried about players, being overtired, and they could put out a very, very young side, if there was a replay, but we're not quite there yet.
Well, we know how difficult it is to win the Champions League, but almost certainly not going to win the Premier League, Chelsea. He might need that bit of silverware, Antonio Conte, son. Not sure. Hang on, here's Musonda. 10 yards outside the penalty area, quickly bearing down on it. Now a chance to cross from the right-hand side from Sterling, and he's won a corner. Corner to Chelsea, and they all come up for it.
What a difference. Sterling coming on has made a massive difference there. He's getting the ball, he's wanting to get on the ball. He's certainly not fazed by having all these big international players around him. He thinks he can create something. I'll tell you what, he looked dangerous when he got the ball in the midfield there.
Stoppage time at Carrow Road. Chelsea to corner to Chelsea. Norwich will be just absolutely disgusted if they were to give away a winner here. The delivery comes into the penalty area. Hanley heads it away, only to Zappa Costa. Good shot, wide. Goalkeeper was at full strength. It was a good hit from the Italian, but it goes wide.
Yeah, it's bounced just in front of him there, so it was always going to be a difficult shot to deal with. Would he have got to it? Do you know what? I still think he had it covered again. I mean, he has really impressed me, Gunn, there. He didn't get to that one there. It went past the post. Had he been inside the post, I think he may have got fingertips to it.
Good technique from Zappa Costa.
But they've managed to keep Chelsea to long-range shots for the vast majority of the second half. Chelsea have been a distance the better side in the second half. They've really upped it without being absolutely brilliant. But it has been all long-range stuff. And that back three of Hanley, Zimmer and Closer have done very well.
Tetti lumps one forward. Oliveira's onto it. Outside the penalty area, left-hand side, into the box. Rudiger's got to be careful. He challenges him, and it goes out for a corner. And there won't even be time to take the corner. It is all over at Carrow Road, and the Norwich City fans applaud this warmly. Their team, 13th place in the Championship, has played above themselves today to keep that concentration, to contain a Chelsea team who, despite the 9 changes, still had a lot of experience on that pitch. David Luiz is back in action, his first game since November, but no goals, Pat Nevin. They'll do it all again at Stamford Bridge.
No, and I think first of all Norwich should be very proud of themselves. I mean, Chelsea are a team with, it costs a huge amount more money to put on the pitch, even with all the changes that have been made, as you mentioned there. And they did put out a very strong, first 11 there. They brought on Morata, who's a big signing as well. And for a vast majority of the game, Norwich stayed with them, and I would say they were the better team for the first 45 minutes. Second 45, Chelsea, without utterly dominating, were the better side and certainly got a few shots on target. A number of players have to mention: Hamley, Zimmerman, Closer, defended brilliantly well, but Gunn in goals. To be honest, I didn't actually think he was going to get beat.
Norwich 0, Chelsea 0. Chelsea not the only Premier League side to be frustrated today, though. It's now all to be discussed. 6:06 with Robbie Savage and Jason Mohammed.
Connor and Pat, thank you very much indeed. So the lines are open for you to have your say. 08085 909 693. Let's hear from you, Stoke fans. Is this the end of Mark Hughes as Stoke City boss, beaten by Coventry City in the Cup? And let's also hear from Liverpool fans as well. Felipe Coutinho has agreed to go to Barcelona for £142 million. Robbie Savage and I standing by to take your calls after the latest BBC News with Sarah Green.
More live Premier League football than anyone else. This is BBC 5 Live.
Donald Trump has rejected claims about his mental health contained in a new book and described its author as a fraud. The president also insists he was never interviewed by Michael Wolff at the White House. The local MP of a woman who died while waiting almost 4 hours for an ambulance earlier this week says he's furious and has called for an inquiry. Conservative Giles Watling, who represents Clacton in Essex, was speaking after the East of England ambulance service said the high number of calls had put it under extreme pressure. Forecasters are warning of record-breaking low temperatures across the northeastern US after an Arctic surge brought freezing air down from the North Pole. There are reports that 19 people have died so far because of the weather. And the Home Office is looking at whether licensing laws should apply to bars in UK airports, which are currently exempt. It's because of a rising number of incidents involving drunk passengers on planes.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet.
On the roads in Worcestershire, it's slow on the M5 northbound after a breakdown between junction 5 at Droitwich and 4A at the M42. One lane's closed there. Several vehicles have been involved in an accident in Greater Manchester on the M6 southbound. One lane is shut between junction 26 at the Orwell interchange and 25 for Bryn. And in Northamptonshire, the A45 is closed both ways at Thrapston because of an accident. It's expected to stay closed until the early hours of the morning. Sarah Green, 5 Live Travel.
BBC 5 Live. Afternoon Edition with Sarah Brett and Nahal Arthanaika.
On Tuesday's Afternoon Edition, Sarah and I will be joined by rapper, songwriter, actor and television personality Stephen Manderson, a.k.a. Professor Green.
Just be good to Green.
He'll guest edit the show and ask why working class white men in Britain feel abandoned and explore how we change that.
Afternoon Edition
with Professor Green.
Tuesday from 1
on BBC 5 Live.
SJ Radio's official FA Cup live, covering every game, every goal. Live, SJ Radio.
Full-time at Carroll Road, Norwich 0, Chelsea 0. And that's all for the FA Cup today. Massive fixtures, massive disappointments, sensible shockers in there as well tomorrow. We do it all over again. Well, instead of me doing it. 12 o'clock, we've got Newport County as they take on Leeds United. That's at 12 o'clock. Then 2 o'clock, main coverage, Sunbury City, or Sunbury Town, versus West Ham United, 2 o'clock. We'll keep you updated on tournament, AFC Wimbledon on that game as well. And then at 4 o'clock, Nottingham Forest, as they take on Arsenal. That is at 4 o'clock. We'll have a quick look at what's happened today with the fixtures updates. We've got that, and we'll say goodbye to you. But before we do that, let's get a latest from Sky News Centre. It's 7:30.
Donald Trump has called himself a genius as he continues to fight against revelations in a new book. Author of Fire and Fury, Michael Wolff, says 100% of the people who work with the president question his fitness for office. Mr. Trump called him a fraud. He also took a swipe at his former chief strategist and right-hand man, Steve Bannon, the man who got him elected.
I consider it a work of fiction, but I don't know this man. I guess Sloppy Steve brought him into the White House quite a bit, and it was one of those things. That's why Sloppy Steve is now looking for a job.
Pressures mounting on NHS bosses after an 81-year-old woman died while waiting almost 4 hours for an ambulance. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn has tweeted a link to the story with the words, "This should not be happening in our country." East of England Ambulance Service has apologised to the woman's family. A man's been arrested over a string of cat killings in Northampton. The 31-year-old's being held after 5 cats were found dead and mutilated in the town between August and November last year. The troubled construction group Carillion is trying to secure new funding within weeks to avoid collapse. The firm, which employs more than 19,000 people in the UK, is due to present a revised business plan within the coming days. In football, League 2 Coventry pulled off a big upset to beat Stoke 2-1 in the third round of the FA Cup. It increases the pressure on Premier League sides manager Mark Hughes. Coventry boss Mark Robin says his team can take a lot from their performance.
The amount of work we've had to put in that game has been immense, but it's again something that we can learn about. It's, our team knows that that's a team from the Premier League. They're actually struggling in the Premier League at the moment, but are a really good top team full of international players.
Top flight champions Chelsea aren't finding it easy in the late game at Norwich, where it's 0-0. And it's thought Barcelona are close to a deal for Liverpool's Philippe Coutinho. A fee of £145 million has reportedly been agreed. And that's the latest. I'm Kate Gibson.
SJ Radio's official FA Cup live coverage 2016. Every game, every goal. Live, it's SJ Radio.
It's my mom. Lately, she just been tripping.
Why is she tripping, Matthew?
Because she doesn't understand me. I'm a teenager now. Like, she's not cool.
Why don't you tell me about it?
Man, she got my head in a spiral. Cause I done made a new wave. I done hit the front page and I just went viral. Because my flow's like Tidal. But I don't think my own mama understands how my beats kick harder than Jackie Chan. And my hits stay lit for my fans in Japan, all the way from the Chattahoochee to California sands. And I flow magnificently, cause I was born to be different. See, I get the blood and the tizzy, got my generation with me. The whiz kids been busy, I spit till I get dizzy. I try to stay focused, but I put the jokers, I know this is me. As you can tell on this mic, I'm for real. I said ma at the studio late. Her reply, no problem, but curfew at 8.
It doesn't matter what I do, could have the song of the year. There's one thing I always deal with, it's become crystal clear. I wanna be a famous rapper, but my mom doesn't care. She'll always treat me like her baby, so my life is unfair.
Check it out, man.
That's why my life is unfair. I wanna be a famous rapper, but my mom doesn't care. It doesn't matter what I do, could have the song of the year. She'll always treat me like her baby, so my life is unfair.
You know what else? Man, I just got some red bottoms. And my mama made me mow the lawn the same day that I got them. How am I supposed to hit the gram and be cool when I got this big green grass stain on my shoe, ma? Then I got a new watch, you know the kind. It don't tick like yours, it just slide. Left the jewelry store, made it home and dinner was delicious. Put my plate in the sink and mama told me do the dishes. Now I'm standing at the sink trying to think, wow, if I lose a diamond I'm a freak out. Listening to music as a scrub-a-dub-dub, feeling like an idiot from wearing yellow rubber gloves. And I finally get up all the grease. I got my phone blowing up from a girl that's a dime piece. I said, Mom, we're just friends, I won't kiss her. She said, I don't mind if you go, but you're taking your baby sister.
It doesn't matter what I do, could have the song of the year. There's one thing I always deal with, it's become crystal clear. I wanna be a famous rapper, but my mom doesn't care. She'll always treat me like her baby, so my life is unfair.
Check it out, man.
That's why my life is unfair. I wanna be a famous rapper, but my mom doesn't care. It doesn't matter what I do, could have the song of the year. She'll always treat me like her baby, so my life is unfair.
Would you like to know what I think, Matthew?
What's up?
Well, it sounds to me like you have a mother that loves you very much, and I think I know what you should do.
You do?
Yes. Why don't you call her and let her know that we're wrapping up? I just got a text from her.
Are you serious?
Well, you're gonna be late to your orthodontist appointment, mister.
This is literally what I'm talking about. I'm out.
That's why my life is unfair. I wanna be a famous rapper, but my mom doesn't care. It doesn't matter what I do, could have the song of the year. She'll always treat me like her baby, so my life is unfair.
You sound so good, honey.
Mom, I was in the middle of recording.
SJ Radio's official FA Cup live cover via 15. Every game, every goal. Live, SJ Radio.
So cute walking down the hallway. Hey, Maddie, Maddie, you be looking so fine. And when you're walking down the hall, all the girls form a line. They be like 1, 2, 3. I hope you pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. Hi, Maddie. Hey, Maddie, Maddie, you be looking so good. And when you touch down in my city, come to my neighborhood. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3 East Peachtree Street and see me. No, see me. Hi, Maddie.
Stop. Everybody get woke. I've been making hits since I was 6 years old. Kicking into my living room after school and just watching cartoons in my underoos. True, with the click of the remote, I can't believe it. A music video comes on, what am I seeing? I jump up and I study the beat. I get to shaking the rump, I get to move on my feet. I get to jumping around, freaking down, coming up on my own smooth dance moves like I see on TV. Guess it was all she wrote, I hit a couple of notes. We made a video and online I go. 1 turned to 2 and 3, I went upstairs, I said my prayers. I counted sheep, I fell asleep. And when I woke up the next day, hi, I'm Maddie.
Hey, Maddie, Maddie, you be looking so fine. And when you're walking down the hall, all the girls form a line. They be like 1, 2, 3. I hope you pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. Hi, Maddie. Hey, Maddie, Maddie, you be looking so good. And when you touch down in my city, come to my neighborhood. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3 East Peachtree Street and see me. No, see me. Hi, Maddie.
These days, these boys cuff a lot. Sucking all soft cause they think that's hot, bruh. She won't retweet me or more when she get a boyfriend that's 6'4". Who you talk about, Maddie B? Everybody, don't front, y'all do it, don't try to hide it. I ain't trying to date like 10 billion fans. I'm just trying to write a song that can make you dance, you know? I'm too cool for that, my soul is too old school for that. Like a real tight fade from the barbershop with the brand new Benz in the parking lot. These boys I see, they trying to sleep. The kings here try not to speak. Real recognize real, you see. Y'all tripping, I'm Maddie B, now play my theme song.
Hey, Maddie, you be looking so fine. And when you're walking down the hall, all the girls form a line. They be like 1, 2, 3. I hope you pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. Hi, Maddie. Hey, Maddie, you be looking so good. And when you touch down in my city, come to my neighborhood. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3 East Peachtree Street and see me. Hi, Maddie.
Stop. Everybody dance. I like that. Hey, girl.
You looked at me.
How you doing?
No, he was looking at me.
Let's get it.
Let's have a look at the fixtures.
SJ Radio's official FA Cup live, covering every game, every goal. Live, SJ Radio.
Okay, we'll start with Fleetwood Town and Leicester in the early kick-off, 12:45, and then we'll do the 1 o'clock kick-off, then we'll do all the 3 o'clock kick-offs. Okay, men. Fleetwood Town 0, Leicester City 0, going to replay. Also, Middlesbrough 0, Sunderland, and Middlesbrough 2, Sunderland 0. 3 o'clock kick-offs, Aston Villa 1, Peterborough 3, Birmingham 1, Burton Albion 0, Blackburn Rovers 0, Hull City 1, Bolton Wanderers 1, Huddersfield 2, Bournemouth 2, Wigan 2, Bedford 0, Notts County 1, Cardiff City 0, Mansfield 0, Carlisle 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry City 2, Stoke City 1, Doncaster Rovers 0, Rochdale 1, AC City 0, West Brom 2, Fulham 1, Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 0, Sheffield United 1, Manchester City 4, Barnsley 1, Millwall 4, Barnsley 1, Newcastle 3, Luton Town 1, QPR 0, MK Dons 1, Stevenage 0, Reading 0, Watford 3, Bristol City 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Swansea 0, Wycombe Wanderers 1, Preston North End 5, Yeovil Town 2, Brentford City 0, Norwich 0, and Chelsea 0. Tomorrow we've got more live coverage for yourself. 12 o'clock, Newport County as they take on Leeds United. And at 2 o'clock, we've got 2 games for yourself. Main game, Shrewsbury Town versus West Ham United, and we'll keep on updating on Tottenham and AFC Wimbledon. And then at 4 o'clock, live coverage is Nottingham Forest as they take on Arsenal. That is all tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow from 11:45 as we do a build up to another day of the FA Cup. See you later, guys.